Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. The Professor Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Raikkonen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last Ferrari world champion. So, 16 constructors' titles, 7 more than McLaren, and 15 drivers' titles, 4 more than, again, McLaren. Ferrari are truly Formula One's top team. Forza Ferrari.
Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me it is the one and only former Republic of Ireland striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning. Not much to talk about this Saturday.
I think you're telling a lie there. Indeed, I think you're referencing what happened last night in particular. Chelsea thrashed West Ham in the Friday night football.
It has transformed into a complete Hammer horror show. West Ham 1, Chelsea 5, and it could get a lot worse yet.
Yeah, we will look back on that game as the Hammers' difficult start to this season continues. We'll also have a look ahead to the weekend's Premier League action, including a cracker at the Etihad as Manchester City take on Spurs, live on talkSPORT.
Tottenham 3, Burnley 0. Thomas Frank's tenure as Spurs boss in the Premier League is off to a flyer.
Indeed, although perhaps he's not going to be happy with their transfer activity. We're going to discuss Eberechi Eze's impending move to Arsenal and whether it makes them favourites for the Premier League title.
Spurs, great club. In my opinion, Arsenal are a bigger club. As a football club, Arsenal right now are in a better place. Arsenal should have gone and got him weeks ago.
That is Darren Bent, and we'll be discussing all the big topics from this week as well. We're going to be looking ahead to the EFL as well as the SPL action today. We always want to hear from you. You're more than welcome to get in touch. You can call us or WhatsApp us on 03717 223344, where you can leave us a voice note on WhatsApp, or you can text us to 81089. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. Cass, how you doing? Nice to
I'm
see
good.
you.
I'm good. You've been away, haven't you?
Been away.
Had a break.
A little break. Went to the motherland to see family and stuff, which was lovely.
Which is Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, yes. Wasn't as restful as I hoped, but that's because I've got an 86-year-old father who needs a lot of looking after, which I don't mind doing, but when you're hoping to just sort of relax, didn't quite pan out that way. But still, like I say, it was all good, and I'm not going to complain.
Come and tell us you got sunburnt as well.
Oh, honestly, where my parents have a house, which is just outside the capital, Sofia, as we say in Bulgaria. Yeah. There is a beautiful place that we go to where there's lots of different pools. There's quite a lot of things that go on there, actually. It's quite nice. Anyway, day one, we go there, and I burn my back. And I haven't burnt... I'm, naturally, I do burn a little bit.
Quite an olivey skin, right?
Yeah. I tend to burn a little bit like day one, and then my tan kicks in.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Day one, my back was a disaster zone. And it was my fault. It was all my fault. I didn't properly do the old suntan lotion on the back. It's my fault. But yeah, I was a bit like, I'm not sure I can sit out in the sun that much now.
Not good on the early days of an
No, it stings a little bit. So in some ways, I was quite grateful that I had to...
It's quite a funny subject,
chaperone my dad elsewhere.
I got burnt many, many moons ago on my first holiday with my pals in Portugal. On the first day, I burnt my back and I couldn't go in the sun for like 3 or 4 days.
Kills.
I just couldn't. I mean, if you ask people out there about sunburn and what they've done, because it is such a pain.
Well, I mean, and it's not like we don't know. Suntan lotion, put it on. It's going to help you a little bit. But yeah, I just was a bit stupid on day one, and it was to my detriment because it did mean that there's only certain places I could sit.
Oh, it's painful.
But
a bit like West Ham last night, Chelsea.
Oh, what a lovely segue indeed. Yes, it was the Graham Potter derby as his current side West Ham took on his former club Chelsea in what was the Friday night football in the Premier League. And despite scoring early on in the game in what was a cracker of a goal, Enzo Maresca's side came roaring back to win 5-1, capitalising on some slack defending and ultimately blowing the hosts away. The game was live for you on talkSPORT.
It's a London derby with plenty on it already, but who's going to be able to make capital?
Cole Palmer was injured during the warm-up.
Full injury, and then we conceded after 5 minutes, so it was not the best way to start the game, and then the reaction was very good.
Here come West Ham again with a shot from distance. Oh, what a stunning goal! A magnificent strike from Lucas Paquetá.
You will not see a better goal than that here this season.
And then I think the first goal was a cheap goal, and that probably sets the tone for the evening from our perspective.
In comes the corner, it's flicked on at the near post, and João Pedro is there to head it in. Paquetá then caught in possession, stays down outside the penalty area. Chelsea work it in, and Neto scores. And it's 2-1 Chelsea.
It's not nice on the eye, and the feeling's not great. There's going to be a lot of disgruntled fans tonight.
Estevao making his way inside the penalty area, gets the byline and just works it through the 6-yard box for a Chelsea tap-in for 3. Enzo Fernandez turning it over the line.
There's nothing I can say that's going to make that feeling any better at the moment. They'll be hurting
and spilt by the goalkeeper to be put in by Caicedo for 4.
Target for me is just 2 days off and then think about Fulham.
And put in by Chalobah. It's 5-1. It has transformed into a complete Hammer horror show.
Yeah, 6 minutes in, looked pretty good for West Ham with that opening goal, and what a thunderous strike it was from Paquetá. But after that, it was really all one-way traffic in the end. I'm going to let you say what you want to say, Cass, because you've already alluded to me off air that you've got things to say.
Well, look, there's one big thing here is that when managers sometimes watch videos of games of the previous game they played, because they all do it, they all watch, and rightly so, you watch the opposition that Chelsea played last week. They played Crystal Palace. Yeah. So when I saw the lineup last night, I was thinking, right, Graham Potter's going for the formation that Crystal Palace did against Chelsea and nullified them. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the problem, right? Souček, Ward-Prowse, and I put Paquetá in there, can't defend like Will Hughes will defend, Walton will defend for West Ham, for Palace, win the ball back. And the way that the Palace do the back 3, back 5 is something I've chatted to you at length about, is that they're exceptionally good at playing that formation. And absolutely are. And watching West Ham last night try a formation which you've witnessed the opposition Chelsea struggle against Crystal Palace. So immediately, once it turned, it went badly wrong. And look, there were loads of other reasons, as in making mistakes. Keeper's made a horror mistake, or one, maybe 2. Hermansen, he's made 2 clangers. You could also say Wan-Bissaka's got caught twice ball watching, where there's 2 goals at the back post where he's slightly out of position, and that's enabled Chelsea to get a 3-1 lead. So there's loads of them problems. But the first and foremost is the formation that clearly, once Chelsea got to grips with the game, because at first what they were doing was little 5-yard passes for the free sort of centre halves to knock it to each other, not really playing with any purpose, Chelsea. once they went 1-0 down, it done Chelsea the biggest favour ever because it made them open up slightly and a bit more playing with, like I said earlier, purpose to be a little bit more direct in the way they played the game. But I've got to say that West Ham playing that formation and the reason he changed it at half-time and made 2 substitutions because it was so bad. They did it so bad. And I just get a little bit frustrated sometimes when I'm watching something because you can get caught up in watching teams play and do all the analysis and we do this, Palace didn't make different. Look at your personnel and can they do it? Do they have the tenacity in midfield and the energy to go after the opposition and make it difficult? Because that's what Palace did to Chelsea. And the answer was no, they couldn't. Caicedo, Fernandes, way too much energy in there. To win the ball, keep it, move it. West Ham couldn't handle it.
I mean, West Ham, out of this result, have become the story because of how bad a start they've made. 8 goals conceded in 2 games, a worrying stat for anyone involved. And we will talk more about this later on because the West Ham fan and Sun journalist Will Pugh will be with us. But if you just focus on Chelsea for a moment, and there's been a lot of hype, a lot of positivity about Chelsea, especially what they did in the summer at the Club World Cup and the fact that they won that, beating PSG as they did. Can we base that performance yesterday and say they're going to be in the title? Or is it unfair to... I say unfair, that's not the right word, but are we too quick to say, yes, they're going to be title contenders based on that result last night? Because a 5-1 thrashing on paper looks brilliant, but is that in part down to the fact, as you say, West Ham were terrible? Yeah,
well, I said before the game that it's the best opposition for Chelsea to play is West Ham right now. Because you can get at them, you can cause them problems, and they'll gift you goals, which they did last night. Danny Murphy called it for talkSPORT as well. And look, Chelsea, the first 25 minutes, no, they didn't show that they're a team ready to, compete for the title. But as the game grew, and I mean, they lost Cole Palmer. Before the game, Esteval come in, done really well. Which was...
apart from the little flick.
Yeah, apart from the little flick.
West Ham goal. But you're right, he did very well.
Yeah, but did generally very, very well. But Chelsea didn't have to do too much right last night. They were being gifted everything from everybody in the West Ham team, nearly.
Set pieces for West Ham would be alarming for any fan to watch. Those corner routines from Chelsea were just so easy.
Well, Kukurea being on the near post, I always try to simplify this because I defended a lot in my career. Okay, I attacked things when we were doing set pieces. When I was planning for my team, I had to be a defensive unit, part of it, where I'd pick up someone. And I have used this analogy before, but I was told just pick up a big one. And it's so simple. I look for who I'm going to go and, right, you're on him. You're picking up Tony Adams. You're picking up, I don't know, Sol Campbell. I would be given people, but I know who I'm on. That's my responsibility.
But in that particular case, Paquetá was on Kukurea. Kukurea got the better of him easily.
But I'm not being funny in that. Some players are not very good at heading or realising what... But Paquetá, if you want to get him on the ball and do something brilliant, he's capable. Do you want him to pick up someone, have a bit of responsibility and maybe win a header or win a tackle? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. And let's remember that for that goal, Nat, they didn't lose one header. They lost 2.
Yeah. 2
in one incident. Because as it gets flicked on, Pedro's just had a simple header to flick in. So there's a lot wrong in that goal. He said it all last night.
I tell you what, Graham Potter looked a little bit shell-shocked afterwards, didn't he, in his post-match reaction. Let's hear from what he had to say afterwards then.
Well, no, as I said, it's a tough evening for us, and I feel for the supporters. They want more, and we let them down today. We let them down because the goals we gave away were too cheap. So there's nothing I can say that's going to make that feeling any better at the moment. They'll be hurting, and it's painful. So it's just a case of we need to do better, and we need to work harder.
Yeah, well, there isn't any words that are going to wash with the West Ham faithful. Managers sometimes have impossible jobs, and we'll talk about other stuff regarding managers later in the show. We could do a whole show on West Ham this morning. We could do 3 hours of having fans on and talking about what was on display last night. He's in a no-win situation, but he's responsible for how the team play and set up. And last night, Graham got it wrong. And I'm not talking about going 1-0 up in the game now. I'm talking about the formation that they got absolutely torn apart in.
Just briefly, a lot was also made of the fact that he needs help in the transfer window.
Yeah.
Now, they have brought in a few players. You know, they've brought in Diouf, we saw last night, Carl Walker-Peters. There's also Callum Wilson, the keeper, Hermansen too, let's not forget. But they have also lost a lot of experience with the likes of Aaron Cresswell, Soufal, Ings and even Mikel Antonio, for example. Is that part of the problem too, then, that they're not backing him? Or are they backing him, but we're just not seeing the fruits of it yet?
Well, West Ham have spent quite a lot of money over the last few years, and you could also make the point of just go through the back line and how much every one of them costs, because Wan-Bissaka played last night. He was West Ham's best player. I think he was player of the year last year for them, and he certainly played like a player who wanted to prove something after leaving Old Trafford. But you go to Kilman, 45 million. Agar, you know, you go through the whole back line. And
but they're not Potter's signings.
No, they're not. But they're serious pros. They're senior pros now. You know, I get of course you want to add more as a manager, but you've just had the goalkeeper come in. You'd like to think that Potter had a
say in that.
Sort of a say in, the goalkeeper. Okay, people make mistakes. It's not all on the manager. I get that. But there was so much wrong last night, and you can't be beaten 5-1 in a manner, because Chelsea didn't have to play that well last night to win.
No. Just quickly, before we hit a break, they've got Wolves in the Cup this coming week. Then they have a trip to Forest, followed by 2 London home derbies against Tottenham and Palace. Again, it's sort of likewise. Is it too early to talk about Chelsea being title contenders? Is it too early to say that West Ham are in a relegation fight already? Or are you worrying about them in particular?
I said last weekend I would be concerned if I was a West Ham fan that how their season... Look, if you want to go down the data road, 20 games, 20 points under Graham Potter. That's 3 less than Lopetegui got when he got the sack. So there is lots of issues at West Ham that need to be resolved. Potter now has got to earn his stripes to turn this club around, because they're in freefall. You don't concede 8 in a week at the start of a season without... That's alarming in itself.
Yeah. As I say, Will Pugh hopefully will join us a little bit later on. Sun journalist, West Ham fan. He has a Hammers podcast as well. I saw some of his reaction on social media. It's fair to say he's not happy. He'll be joining us later on. Why not give your thoughts, West Ham fans, as well, on what you witnessed last night? How worried are you about this season following that performance? Are you worried you're going to be in a relegation battle this season, or do you think it's just a slow start and things will work out for you? 03717 2233 44. That's the number to call us on this morning. And Chelsea fans, we're not ignoring you. Did you see enough from that display yesterday to think, yeah, you are realistic title challengers this time around? Why not get in touch? OK, on the way next, we're going to look ahead to what's to come in this weekend of footballing action. And there's a huge game taking place this weekend as Crystal Palace happen to be hosting Nottingham Forest. We'll look ahead to that too. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Goal! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
this nonsense kills the game.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness.
Very good morning to you. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast.
I never get this song because if you're happy with a room without a roof, what's that?
Well, I think isn't that the whole point? Like, even if you don't have a roof over your head, you're happy. I think that's maybe what he's intimating. I don't know.
Confuses me, that one.
It is Tony Cascarino and me, Natalie Sawyer, with you until 9 o'clock this morning. And why are we playing this song, Cass? Well, ahead of the bank holiday weekend, we spotted a story in the papers today which says that certain songs are guaranteed to make you happy.
Yep. Got one.
Okay, according to an expert, music psychologist Dr. Claire Renfrew, songs which meet a particular formula can improve dopamine levels when played loudly. The world's happiest car playlist highlights some of the key hits, including this one by Pharrell Williams, Happy, as you are hearing it. Other songs on the playlist which fit the criteria include Mamma Mia by ABBA, She's Electric by Oasis, or One More Time by Daft Punk, and Day Tripper by the Beatles. You will be disappointed to hear there's no Drake.
No Drake, okay. But I tell you what, this song, I've said I want this played at my funeral, okay? Right?
It's meant to be
No, it's a happy song. Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile.
Yes.
Steve Harley, Cockney Rebel. That is my song.
that.
I always think of that. Because that is...
So would you play that now and it just...
Yeah, it just makes me happy.
Dopamine levels in
it
you.
just, it's a song, but you... Basically, on meeting people you haven't seen for a while, and when you see them, you're really happy to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That song always sticks with me.
Yeah.
Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile.
I get that. That's a good choice. That's a nice song. I get you.
You've got a song, a happy song?
Oh, probably. But me and my son, we're very much into just playing things of the moment. So yesterday in the car, as we were travelling back from a little shopping trip that we needed to do, we had a little Wicked soundtrack on, and I go full pelt. Full pelt in the car, believe me. So, look how...
Oh, yeah, Steve Harley.
So, yes, I get you. There are songs that just naturally make you smile.
Yeah.
Let's move on. On Thursday night, Crystal Palace defeated Fredrikstad 1-0 in the Conference League playoff first leg at Selhurst Park. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored the only goal of the game 10 minutes into the second half, but despite a lack of cutting edge heading into the latter stages, the Palace boss, Oliver Glasner, only made one substitution. Some Palace fans believe that he was making a clear statement to the board about a lack of available options. And with Eberechi Eze unavailable due to his impending move to Arsenal and rumours about the future of Mark Gahey and also perhaps Adam Wharton, is Glasner right that Palace need more strength in depth ahead of a long season of League, Cup and potentially European football too? So, Cass, is this a thing? Do managers make statements with something like a lack of substitutions?
I wouldn't say on his case that he's making a statement. I think he's very comfortable in the team he selects. Okay. And I talked about them earlier in the way they're set up and how brilliantly from Richards, Lacroix, Gay, how they defend Mitchell and Muniz as wing backs. They do that brilliantly well. And he has a huge trust in his first starting 11. He just does. That's what and he's lost players. Of any manager who had anything to moan about, Glasner could be one that you could go, he's every right, because Palace haven't done much business, as we know.
Yeah.
I'm sure players will come in. I'm just convinced that a couple will come in before the end of the window because he needs a bigger squad, especially with European football. Maybe he's thinking, I need to win this game. I need to win this game. And if I make these changes, I'm not sure we'll go over the line because they're so short in numbers compared to other Premier League teams, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they're watching Sunderland come up. They're watching Leeds come up. Burnley all spending money.
I was going to say, I think they've only spent around 2 million so far, and that's on a defender.
Well, I'd listened to a conversation in midweek, and there's a really valid point is that last year was a bit of a one-off season because the bottom three were so far adrift. Everybody above them who could have been relegation, candidates survived because the bottom three were so bad. I mean, Leicester finished 13 points behind Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs have got 38 points last year. That could have been a number to go down because we chatted off air about this, and you're right, 40 points is the number you're looking at. Last year, it wasn't that. It was 23 that the third from bottom got. And I think it's different this year because of what Sunderland, Burnley and Leeds have all done coming up. They've all invested, and Palace haven't done anything. But they're blessed. They've got a great bunch of players, and I think there will be business done, but I'm sure the manager wants it urgently. To come through the door.
I was going to say, you're leaving it late. Look, there are a lot of clubs leaving it late for some strange reason.
I'm sure they've got targets in the pipeline. I'm sure that they've got people ready to come in. It's just they haven't done them right at this moment. But I'm sure that'll happen.
But without a doubt, he'll need numbers when they hope to get through this qualifier. As we mentioned with Fredrikstad, it's only that 1-0 win that they have that first leg. But they hope to get through that to then qualify for the Conference League outright, which then brings its own problems because there's an added competition that Palace won't be used to. And Glasner will need more numbers, quite clearly. Let's quickly hear from him because he did speak after that 1-0 win on Thursday.
The profile is defined for months. It's not surprising for everyone that Depp's left. Honestly, it's not surprising. So because 5 days earlier we couldn't have done anything if he leaves. So, we knew that the chance is very high that this will happen. Yeah. And honestly, and this is again, and I say it like it is, we missed to replace him early enough. That's completely our fault and nobody else's fault.
Yeah. Talking about Eberici Eze, who's looking likely to be heading to Arsenal, and he was expecting that he was going to leave in this summer window. Yeah. It's just that they haven't brought anyone in to replace them, which is a bit of a problem for them with just a few days left in this window. And they've got a massive game against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, that's a classic game of, a team that's invested so much and done brilliantly well against a team that have done business but nowhere near to the Forest level, but have still put a really good team together. From the goalkeeper, Henderson, right the way through the team, the manager, they've really navigated Crystal Palace brilliantly well. But how much does it take to go too far and not do anything?
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
Not only, there's animosity between the fans, there's animosity, no doubt, between the two clubs after what happened in the summer with Cass and everything. Not you, Cass, but Court of Arbitration for Sport Cass. And also the fact that both managers have been quite vocal in the last couple of weeks, if not this week, just about the issues going on behind the scenes and how they're both not that happy. We'll have more on that game, of course we will, when we discuss it later on. But up next, we'll be getting on the road for you. We're going to be speaking to a Watford fan on the supporters coach heading to Swansea for the early 12:30 kickoff this afternoon. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Get your talkSPORT exclusive offer today with 72% off a 2-year plan and an extra 4 months free. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at nordvpn.com/talkSPORT. Morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. It is a man who was once sold for 12 tracksuits, Tony Cascarino, who is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer. As we take you through until 9, here are some of your headlines today from the Premier League. Cole Palmer is reported to be dealing with a groin injury that flared up in the warm-up versus West Ham. Enzo Maresca said it was precautionary to avoid taking any unnecessary risks as he was taken out that starting 11 before kick-off. Newcastle manager Eddie Howe says he has not seen or spoken to striker Alexander Isak for a week and has described the saga as a lose-lose situation. And Brentford have reportedly turned down Newcastle's improved bid of 40 million for striker Yohan Wissa ahead of the game versus Aston Villa today. Head coach Keith Andrews has reiterated he wants to keep the Congo international at the G-Tech this season.
He's a Brentford player right now. My stance around Yohan all along really has been that I don't want him to leave. That hasn't really changed in any way, shape or form. I keep going back to being understanding of his situation. But for me, I don't want to lose a player of that quality. So that hasn't really changed throughout the whole kind of episode of the transfer window. So hopefully he's here in the next 10, 12 days, whatever it is. Certainly as the head coach, that's what I would like.
Oh, Cass, it's a difficult one because obviously this is my club, but I do have a lot of sympathy for Keith Andrews. You know, your first ever senior management role and you're having to deal with things that you're not really expected to deal with so early on. And the Yohan Wissa situation, likewise, that Newcastle fans will be understanding with Alexander Isak, has led to a lot of Brentford fans saying, look, it's time for him to go. We're fed up of it. Fed up of the antics. Fed up of someone who we have showed incredible loyalty to, who we brought him to the Premier League. We took him out of France. We brought him to the Premier League. He had a lot of personal issues in France that we happily supported him on. It's well documented to do with an acid attack if you want to look it up on the internet. And well, whilst I've been away, you know, I've seen that he's deleted all mentions of Brentford on his Instagram account. I mean, this is a 28-year-old man. Let's remember that. He's a man. And I've never, ever thought I would see the day that someone would go to this petty level. And I say that, of course, players, we've seen lots of players do things like this. But to delete all mentions of the club that have basically given you the platform to potentially get this big money move to Newcastle is just ridiculous and so petty, so pathetic. I'm so saddened for the way he is dealing with things. Now, of course, he will say, and his representatives will say, there was an agreement in place that they would sell Yohan Wissa for a set fee, etc., etc. Now, my sources, and I've got very close sources on this one, who have told me there was never a gentleman's agreement. That is just pie in the sky stuff. And if there was a gentleman's agreement, well, the agent didn't do his job by getting it written on paper as such, because that's
Well, I was about to say, if you can
basic.
prove that you had a gentleman's agreement, and does that mean I'll shake your hand? I've been in football 19 years as a player, and I've been involved in football for 40 plus years. And I don't remember as a player clubs coming up and to say, oh, by the way, we'll let you go next summer if it all suits. Now, you might have the odd scenario like a Ronaldo was at Manchester United, and clearly they were agreeing to let him go, but only when it suited Manchester United. And that was the year after that, you know, supposedly Fergie had that conversation. Clubs, Simon Jordan was on midweek talking about Andrew Johnson, that he had an agreement with him, that but it wasn't something in writing, it was just an agreement, and he ended up letting him go. But I hear that really rarely. That's so... It just doesn't happen.
From what I was, again, from my sources close to this story, what I was told is there was a suggestion in the January window that he could have gone if the right offer had come in at that point, which might have been that 40-odd million mark. But that was for the January window only, not this summer window, for January, at a point when we also had Brian Mbeumo, where we were mid-table. So it kind of, you can understand why they might have said, look, if something comes in January, we will be open to offers. That didn't materialise, and we're now in this situation where we sold Brian Mbeumo, which we all very much expected. No one was expecting Yohan Wissa to be part of a potential swoop as well. But my point still stands, where I go back to the fact what I was saying earlier on, Cass, is that this is a 28-year-old man. Everyone is very quick to blame the advisors, the representatives, and yes, they have a big part to play.
Well, own it yourself.
And do they manage his Instagram account? I'm not 100% sure on that. But he is still a man who should know right from wrong.
Well, it is.
You want to force your way out, fine, but you can still do it in the best behaviour possible, which would then, if it did move, you'd find a lot of Brentford fans would go, do you know what, you go with our blessing. Like Brian and Burmo, you go with our blessing. Brian and Burmo still liking Brentford posts on Instagram, and I love every second of it. We've just appointed a set-piece coach, like from Brian and Burmo. Love it. But Johan Wieser is tarnishing every part of the legacy that he had. And let's not forget, very quickly, Cass, last season was an extraordinary season for Johan Wieser. Yeah. Before that, he was more of a bit part player than anything else. I love Johan Wieser, and if he can stay and he can rectify everything, great. But I'm sorry, just on one season, you do not have the right to try and force your way out.
No, he was behind Ivan Toney, obviously left the club. You had Thiago come in. He got given an opportunity, make the most of it. That summer, there's no way an owner's going to say to him or anybody at the football club, oh, by the way, at the end of the season, we'll let you go for this. They had no idea that Wieser would have been worth 40 million to them in some capacity. And there's a morals and principles thing here. And people will look at clubs and say, oh, the clubs do this. You play your part. You're an adult, you are very capable of saying to your agent, whoever's looking after you, or your advisors, I don't want to go about it that way. Yes, if the move comes around and everything gets agreed by the clubs, I'll be, fantastic move for me. I think most fans understand that. But if you're going to start doing things that are just... I mean, Troy Deeney's in the paper this morning, Nat, and he's talking about what, how he acted in training. But I'm sure Troy will look back. He's managed afterwards, hasn't he? Troy, he's also been in that arena, and but he also says about Johan Wieser very quickly that deleting posts and too far.
Any reference to the club that has basically helped you to get to where you're at now, it's like a bitter ex. What you do when you've broken up with somebody. I mean, it's just pathetic. Yeah. And like I said, at the end of the day, yes, your advisors might be saying, do this, do that to force your way out, but you're a grown man. You know what's right from wrong, and you know that what you're doing right now, as much as he's back in training and may well be involved today, I don't know, come on, just think about what you're doing. You could go about your exit in a better way, and this is just not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on very quickly, shall we? Because it's time for us to take a regular trip inside a supporters coach. This morning we are with Watford fans who are facing a long old journey to South Wales as they prepare for what might well be a caffeine-requiring 12:30 kickoff against Swansea. The supporters minibus had an early pickup this morning, and one of the fans making the trip is Danny Ion, a Watford season ticket holder, and Danny's with us this morning. Danny, how are you?
Hi, Danny.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah.
Very well. What time have you been up from, Danny?
We've been up since about 5:30, and we got the minibus about 5:45, so that's an early start today.
So whereabouts are you at the moment? If you're heading to Swansea, you're probably around Swindon or maybe a bit shorter?
Phil, where are we? Reading. Just going past Reading.
Okay, still a while to go.
Yeah, still a long way to go, yeah.
And obviously you've got a load of Watford fans around you, or you're all optimistic about this game?
Guys, are we optimistic? Yeah, a bit on. I think we're on the fence a little bit, but I think Beer's saying 2-0, and I'll go for 2-0 as well. But we'll all be beyond the boys no matter what today. So.
Yeah. Well, Danny, your season's sort of got going. You've got a victory over QPR, so you've got 3 points in the bag. But how have you felt about the opening 3 games you've played so far?
Pretty mixed. I mean, the first game against Charlton, it was a wake-up call. I think a lot of Watford fans expected to win. We didn't. Obviously, disappointing that last-minute goal, but then we had the cup match against Norwich, which the first half performance was really, really bad. Second half, we put in a little bit of a fight, but we still lost. And then the QPR game, I think, it was a must-win this early on, and we got the win, and it's got our season up and running. So I think today, though, we lost. We're losing our best player, Imran Luzner, because he got sent off at the end of the game last week, which is disappointing. But we're going to have to cope without him, and it's time for other players to step in and stake a claim.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Danny, and I'm sure you've been asked this many a time, bear in mind the owners and how quick they are to bring in new managers. No, it's more like, can you ever fall in love with a manager when you know they don't tend to last very long at Watford?
Yeah, no, I mean, last year, I think we all fell in love with Tom Cleverley because he was one of us. He was with us as a kid on loan for Man United. He's gone away, had a good career, played for England, Everton, Aston Villa. And he come back to Watford, and we just love him. And the way he left, I mean, I think we all expected he was going to leave. He was never going to be manager this season. We all knew that, so we all come to terms with it. I mean, there was a point last season around January time where he was pretty much sacked, and I can remember it to the day because I was at the game. It was Coventry away. We lost 2-1, but it was right at the end of the game. We were all singing his name for literally 10, 15 minutes out of the game, and it was one of the best days of our season. So we were all behind Tom Cleverley. I mean, the back end of the season didn't end too good. I think we only won like 3 or 4 games between January and May, so it wasn't a good end. But we were all behind Tom Cleverley. We love him, and now it's the time for the new manager now. So the new manager now, he has to get results, because you know more than anyone, results as a Watford fan is the most important thing. You don't get results, you get the sack. And last season, Cleverley, it was really, really nice to see that they stuck with the manager. And I think that was purely down to us fans, because we made sure Cleverley was our manager all last season. But I don't think we'll do that this season if the results don't go the way.
Come on, Danny. Fans are always demanding their players to be at it. You as fans going to be at it today? You're going to give us a bit of a song, Watford song or something from the bus?
One now? Do you want a song now? Yeah.
Yes, please. I want to see if you're at it. The fans.
Let's have a sing song.
Keep it clean, though. Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. PG, yeah. Ron Radio, PG. Go on, start it.
They're shy. Come on, Danny.
That
was a nice little ditty to start things off with.
You're getting done 2-0, Danny, today.
Just before we let you go, Danny, because I know there's a long old journey still ahead for you. What are the expectations for you guys this season?
Do you know what? I mean, for me personally, this is the first season in quite a long while. I genuinely don't know where we're going to finish. I think if you said we're going to finish bottom 6, I'd say that's about right. If you say we finish top 6, that's about right. It's one of them. Like last season, I think I personally thought we were going to struggle. I think a lot of fans thought we were going to struggle, and we never. We were pretty much home and hosed by Christmas. This season, don't know. We've made a lot of signings. I think 9-10 signing. The owners have backed this manager, so I think for them, promotion is definitely the aim. And if we don't get it, then they will chop the manager. And, if we're sort of slagging behind October, November, then they won't be afraid to pull the trigger. So it's going to be an interesting season, that's for sure. We've made some intriguing signings. We've got lads from Bayern Munich. Eric Kunde has looked really good so far. Cipriani from Peterborough has been excellent so far. So it's going to be an interesting season. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season.
Indeed. Well, look, you've got another 2.5 hours or so from what my maths have shown me. Travel safely, even. And thanks, Danny, for being with us.
Cheers, Danny.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck for the season then to Watford and to Danny Iron, who was travelling with those Watford fans to Swansea. It's just a small matter of a 376-mile round trip for those fans. Do you have a long journey today? Where are you heading to? Why not get in touch? Let us know. Perhaps you're going further than where Danny is travelling to. So you can send us a voice note if you want to WhatsApp. That's on 03717 223344. You can also text us to 81089. It's a chance to give you a little shout out as well. Coming up next, we'll discuss Eberechi Eze's move to Arsenal. Could he be the difference maker in their ambitions to win the Premier League? This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about Tony. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. It's the former Aston Villa and Gillingham striker Tony Cascarino who's with me, Natalie Sawyer. And here are some of your headlines today. England captain Harry Kane scored a hat-trick as defending champions Bayern Munich began the Bundesliga season by thrashing RB Leipzig. England delivered an impressive statement of intent at the Rugby World Cup opener. This is the Women's World Cup by scorching to a 69-7 victory against the United States in front of a record crowd of 42,723. That was in Sunderland. 11 tries they scored as well. And Carlton Morris scored an 86-minute equaliser as Derby salvaged their first point of this championship season with a 1-1 draw against Bristol City. You can check out our website talksport.com for more on all those stories and more too. Now, one of the will he, won't he transfer stories is drawing to a close as Crystal Palace's FA Cup final hero, Eberiche Eze, is in the process of concluding a move to Premier League title contenders Arsenal for £67.5 million. Now, it looked as though he was heading to the other side of North London after Spurs had agreed a deal for the England man earlier in the week. But after Kai Havertz was ruled out with an injury for an indefinite period, Mikel Arteta swooped in to hijack the move to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and claim the signing under their rivals' noses. So what does it mean for Spurs? And by losing out on Eze to Arsenal, have they accidentally helped their bitter rivals to take one step closer to the Premier League title? First of all, Cass, I mean, Thomas Frank yet again will be thinking, how has this happened again? We've gone for another player that we wanted. I'm thinking of Morgan Gibbs-White. Okay, slightly different circumstances, I know. But it hasn't panned out. It has not worked out once more. Frustrating time.
No, and a number of people would question the timing of Tottenham not getting the deal done earlier and paying that extra bit of money. I don't think it's as cut and dry as that. I think that Arsenal have always been in the frame, but it was accelerated by Havertz's injury in the game at Old Trafford that they knew he was out for 4 months. And between Sunday and Wednesday, when it all came out, that Arsenal swooped and jumped ahead of Spurs in the queue. And I think you have to take it on the chin as a Tottenham fan. You know that you've still got 60-odd million to spend, that's for sure. They'll be looking at targets. And he's made a call that, he could have turned around and said, I want to go to Spurs. But he didn't. He's the link with Arsenal and obviously the success of being in the Champions League. And I know Spurs are as well, but just generally fighting for the title. It's played its part. And Newcastle found out all summer, if you keep going after targets that clubs that are fighting to win things, you're probably going to lose. Like Ekitike, going to Liverpool and, Shesko, or they will lose. So Spurs have had to experience that. But I don't think it's the be-all and end-all. Sometimes you lose targets. Many clubs have lost players. Remember Suarez, when he could have gone from Liverpool to Arsenal and it didn't come about because of that silly £1 offering 40 million and a pound. Arsenal, could have had a deal done then. They made a mistake. Tottenham have made one this window for sure. Would he have... it could have been the agents could have still been in dialogue with Arsenal, even over all them months, about what does it need to be done to get it over the line. And of course, when it happened with Havertz, I just think it just made Arsenal react really quick.
Let's hear from Thomas Frank then, who naturally was asked about the situation in his pre-match press conference, and he seemed a little bit nonplussed, saying he only wants to sign players who want to play for the club.
There's been a lot of rumours linked a lot of players, also players I'm thinking, oh, he's been linked with us, oh, interesting, but a lot of times where there's definitely nothing in it. So that's part of the business we talked about before. There must be someone out there that thinks it's good fun to put the rumours out there. But anyway, there'll be a lot of links. There has been a lot of links. There'll be a lot of links in the future. And so just to generalize that, to make it very, very clear, I don't want any players that don't want to come to the club. They don't want to come to the club and wear this fantastic badge, then we don't want them here. I think that's very clear. And also pretty sure that the fans will feel the same. If they don't want to put the fantastic shirt over their head, play for the badge, play for the club, really enjoy it, no problem. Then we don't want them there. So I think that's a key message.
I know that's something you would echo.
Oh, absolutely. Well. You've got to have players who are totally committed to the cause of what they can do for Spurs or Arsenal, wherever they go to. He's made a call, he's gone to Arsenal. Tottenham have moved on very quickly, and I think that's fair enough. That happens.
Just a word then on Eze at Arsenal. Where do you see him fitting in with the whole Kai Havertz thing? Because obviously, you know, you could talk... He has that free role, doesn't he, at Palace a little bit more. But number 10 is Martin Ødegaard. We know that. So that's probably unlikely he's going to dislodge him. So he's going to be playing out towards the left more?
Well, I think essentially he's better.
Saka either.
He's got Martinelli and Trossard in that position. For the first time, he will be challenged for his shirt if he's not playing well.
Yeah.
You know, if he comes in, and he is a very gifted footballer. No one's got any question about his talent. He's hugely talented. But there is something very different from being at Palace, where you can have an indifferent period and you'll still be in the team. At Arsenal, you won't. Yeah. If he doesn't hit the ground running, and I don't see why not. He's a technical... You know, his ability to see a pass and just glides through the game, and he's a really different player for Arsenal, because they've gone for more directness with Martinelli. Certainly, Madueke you could put in there in that position as well. He can play on the left. That they want to go at fullbacks. He doesn't necessarily do that, but he comes inside and he's always that guy that can find a pass that can enable someone to convert. That's what he's good at, and that gives Arsenal a bit more armoury again. Arsenal got players in every position. We've talked about this before, Nat. Yeah. Literally 2 in every position, and sometimes 3. Yeah. So
I tell you what, I'm sure Arsenal fans...
They're going full for it.
Yeah, once this deal is a done deal as such, it's all signed and sealed, I'm sure there will be a lot of excitement about Arsenal's season.
Well, every paper, every interview now is saying they've got to win it.
Well,
because
it does ramp up the pressure. It does ramp it up, certainly so. We'll talk more about Arsenal later on in the show. They're in action later today. But coming up in the next hour, we're going to look ahead to Manchester City versus Spurs, look ahead to a big weekend of EFL action, and also discuss life under Russell Martin so far at Rangers. It hasn't been an ideal start, but are fans willing to give him time? Why not give us a call this morning? 03717 223344. Have a chat with us here on the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day. Find out more at nordvpn.com/talksport.
Thomas Tuchel's busy trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Krumbach via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Krumbach's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League, as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players, the attitude towards the game, the attitudes from the supporters.
Well, here's hoping Tuchel can finally drag England over the line at a major tournament.
Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me it is the former Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
Coming up today, we will look ahead to a busy weekend of Premier League action, including a cracker at the Etihad as Manchester City take on Spurs, live on talkSPORT.
City have laid down a marker on the opening day. It's Wolves 0, City 4.
Tottenham 3, Burnley 0. Thomas Frank's tenure as Spurs boss in the Premier League is off to a flyer.
We will discuss Eberici Eze's impending move to Arsenal and whether it makes them favourites for the Premier League title. This is what Darren Bent thinks.
Spurs, great club. In my opinion, Arsenal are a bigger club. As a football club, Arsenal right now are in a better place. Arsenal should have gone and got him weeks ago.
And we'll discuss Rangers after they were defeated, I should say, in the Champions League qualifiers by Club Brugge in midweek.
We are, at this moment in time, no doubt a Europa League side, mate. What we need to do more than anything is been back to a very successful side domestically, and we'll look miles off that as well.
Yeah, we'll continue to discuss all the big topics from this week. Look ahead to a big weekend in the EFL. And we want to hear from you as well. 03717 223344. The number is to call us on or WhatsApp us on, where you can leave us a voice note. You can text us to 81089. This is the Weekend Sport Breakfast on talkSPORT. And I mentioned getting in touch. We want to know about the journeys that you're making today, because we were chatting to a Watford fan who were up early this morning as they head to Swansea for a 12:30 kickoff. I'm not sure many are, though, going to beat John Enfield, who has been up early, set off at 5 a.m. this morning to watch his Blackpool side in action at Plymouth.
Oh, what a journey.
That is a hefty journey. I mean, you're looking at way over 600 miles of a round trip. That is long. So, John, I think you win the medal for that one, but thank you very much. And a quick shout out here. This is to Curtis, Mick and Ronnie, Ipswich Town fans en route to Preston, left Ipswich at 5. It's a 360-mile round trip, spending the night in Liverpool. So enjoy that one, Curtis, because that hopefully will be a fun weekend.
if you win that and you're coming back of the journey and you have a bit of a sing-song in the car or whatever, but if you go there and get thumped,
yes,
it's a completely different experience.
It certainly is. And that's why they're making a weekend of it. Just on the off chance, maybe. Maybe it'll be a celebratory weekend, maybe not. But still, nice to have a weekend to enjoy in Liverpool. Talking of a thumping, well, that's exactly what happened last night at the London Stadium as West Ham were thrashed 5-1 by Chelsea. The game was live for you on talkSPORT.
It's a London derby with plenty on it already, but who's going to be able to make capital?
Cole Palmer was injured during the warm-up.
Whole injury, and then we conceded after 5 minutes, so it was not the best way to start the game, but then the reaction was very good.
Here come West Ham again with a shot from distance. Oh, what a stunning goal! A magnificent strike from Lucas Paquetá.
You will not see a better goal than that here this season.
And then I think the first goal is a cheap goal, and that probably sets the tone for the evening from our perspective.
In comes the corner, it's flicked on at the near post, and João Pedro is there to head it in. Paquetá then caught in possession, stays down outside the penalty area. Chelsea work it in, and Neto scores. And it's 2-1 Chelsea.
It's not nice on the eye, and the feeling's not great. There's going to be a lot of disgruntled fans tonight.
Estevao making his way inside the penalty area, gets the byline and just works it through the 6-yard box for a Chelsea tap in for 3. Enzo Fernandez turning it over the line.
There's nothing I can say that's going to make that feeling any better at the moment. They'll be hurting
and spilt by the goalkeeper to be put in by Caicedo for 4.
Target for me is just 2 days off and then think about Fulham.
And put in by Chalobah. It's 5-1. It has transformed into a complete Hammer horror show.
Yeah, it's fair to say that there's nothing worse, Cass, than experiencing the thumping of a 5-1 defeat, especially to a London rival as well. And then to top it off, we ask you then to join us this morning to talk about it. But that is exactly what West Ham podcaster and Sunsport transfer show presenter Will Pugh is doing this morning. Morning, Will. How are you?
Will.
Morning, Nat. Morning, Cash. Yeah, there's nothing worse than being there for a 5-1 win and then having to wake up in the morning and listen to a highlights package of it at 8 a.m. on
I would say there were low lights for you rather than highlights.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Will, I said earlier that I felt that Graham Potter and his team and his analysts and everything looked at the game and thought, Crystal Palace did this against Chelsea the week before. We're going to set up that formation. And that clearly backfired. You do not have the legs in midfield like having a Will Hughes or a Walton. You know, you just don't have that, you know?
Well, that much is true. It certainly didn't look, or for the last 80 minutes of the game, that any analysis had been done whatsoever. And if it had, lots of it. And Jared Bowen came out afterwards and said it, fair play to him. It's like, you know, any manager can come in and, you know, you can have all these different plans and ideas about how you want to play. But ultimately, football's still football. It's about keeping the ball out your own net and putting it in the opposition's. We did look slightly more dangerous going forward in literally the first 10 minutes. Had the goal disallowed, of course. Great hit from Paquetá. But at the back, it was just absolutely pathetic. It was really, the goalkeeper looks terrible since he's come in. from Leicester. Just one of those classic modern day things that I hate. People just non-stop talking about how good the goalkeeper is with his feet, totally ignoring the fact that he might as well not have any hands. Yeah, and the two, if it weren't from set pieces or crosses, which we conceded 2 of our goals at Sunderland last week, were the same thing. Just really weak at the back, and classic Lucas Paqueta hits an absolute belter in the early stages, and then gives the ball away for one of Chelsea's goals, and misses a header against Cucurella, who's probably the shortest player on the pitch. Which and he gets the flick on for Chelsea's equaliser. Just soft, naff defending. It's it's rubbish.
Yeah, lots of positives then to take. No, but what I will say is, well, when are you going to get over David Moyes?
I'm not. I'm not.
I
but
know.
Because it's exactly that was so infuriating. I think after the game, I said that 8 goals we've conceded in 150 minutes of football, but thank God we're not playing that ghastly Moyes ball anymore, where we had slightly less possession, but we actually looked like a proper football team and used to win quite a lot of games of football.
Yeah.
And that's the point. And then people are so quick to sort of jump on it and go, it was rubbish under Moyes, but forgetting all the European trophies and quarterfinals and semi-finals and long unbeaten runs and how difficult we were to beat. And there was a desire among West Ham fans, not all of us, by the way, for a change in style, with absolutely no acknowledgement that, well, actually, that might not necessarily just get better. And it's been absolutely pants since Lopetegui was awful last season. Potter's doesn't seem to be any better this time round. It's awful.
Well, it's always a tough one because obviously the board come under huge scrutiny. Karen Brady was on talkSPORT in midweek talking about Graham Potter and the relationship, and was very upbeat. But from what we're seeing on the field, it's anything but that. And Graham's, how do the West Ham faithful? We know they're not happy, but how much is the board compared to Potter the problem?
I think that's an excellent question, Cass. I think, I heard Karen Brady on Sean's show last Sunday, or Sean and Henry's show, and I think what a lot of the time, what else is you going to say, right? So she came out and said, we're fully behind Graham Potter, and spoke about the good things of the club. If she'd have gone on national radio and said, it's a total shambles, it would have been one of the most revelatory and interesting interviews of all time. But what else do you expect her to say? I think the board and most West Ham fans are kind of in agreement, whatever side of the Moyes fence you sit on. I think most West Ham fans are of the opinion that the board's management of the club it's been questioned by all of us for an awfully long time. One thing I would say, last summer they spent they kind of did what the fans wanted last summer. Moved David Moyes on, went for a better alternative, backed that manager with 160 million, and now I hear a lot of fans saying this summer, why aren't we spending any money? Well, PSR constraints in football these days, lots of that money was spent last summer, but David Sullivan brought Tim Stuyton in as director of football. Loads of fans are really excited about that. That never worked out. But rather than employing someone in a similar position this time around, Kyle McCauley's been brought in from Brighton, but with a much more watered down title. Transfer control has swung back into the hands of David Sullivan. The recruitment this summer has been terrible. Their management of the David Moyes situation, offering him a contract and then withdrawing one a few days later, just after some iffy results, sort of shows to me, and showed at the time, I think, a bit of a lack of strategic overall thinking about where the club should be, what our identity is supposed to be. And you can kind of see that with the lurching style of manager as well. Julian Lopetegui was such an uninspiring appointment. He was atrocious. And I do quite a lot of responsibility they've got to bear. But I just don't think, as Karen Brady said last week, I don't think they have any intention of going anywhere anytime soon. So the fan base is kind of just got to get used to it and. Well, no, not get used to it. There was widespread protest before, and you sense there's a similar feeling bubbling up again. But yeah, it didn't work last time as far as the fans that want the board out. And it doesn't sound like they're going to be changing anytime soon either.
Just lastly, and sort of briefly, Will, I mean, are you worried then for this season?
I've given up on it already. I don't think we'll go down. I really don't think we'll go down. I just think there's enough, just about enough worse teams than West Ham in the Premier League. But how uninspiring is that for for considering where we were just 2 or 3 short years ago, to say after 2 games of the season, I think we'll probably finish 16th. We'll whimper out of the cups as we often do, and that'll be it.
I'd say that you, so far, and there's only early days, but you've easily looked the worst team.
Yeah, and look at our next fixtures, Cass. We could easily not get a point for 6 or 7 games.
And yet you're not going to go down, so you say.
No, I don't think we will. No. We'll just scrabble together enough points, and then there'll be enough. There'll be enough teams. Brentford, for example, who I think will finish beneath us.
Bring back side Ben Rama. That's all I'm saying for you. That'll really be the icing on the cake for you. Just in case you're not aware, he's not a big fan of Ben Rama when he was at West Ham, whereas I loved him at Brentford. So that's the little rivalry there. Will, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers, Will.
No worries. Speak to you soon.
That's Will Pugh then joining us, West Ham fan. If you agree with him, or maybe you don't as a Hammers fan, why not get in touch this morning to give us your perspective? 03717 223344. That's the number to call us on, and also WhatsApp us on. You can also leave us a voice note. You can text us too to 81089. Now, just to let you know, tonight, live only on DAZN, unbeaten Jack Rafferty defends his British and Commonwealth titles against the dangerous southpaw that is Mark Chamberlain in a domestic showdown. Why not sign up now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
All right, coming up, plenty more to look ahead to as we continue to focus on what's to come this weekend in the Premier League, and much, much more too. We'll also bring you some predictions for the weekend's footballing action too. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day. Find out more at nordvpn.com/talksport.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans that's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences. That.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning to you. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Weekend Sports Breakfast live on talkSPORT. We're on YouTube and your smart TV too. It is a man who is yet to serve his 2-game international ban, Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer. And today, Cass, we are beginning a predictor league, shall we say, for the Weekend Sports Breakfast, as Cass will be taking on a special guest looking at the potential scores for this weekend's key matches. Now, this week's guest is our music act, Freight, who will be joining us in the studio tomorrow to play live. Here is the Liverpool fan and lead singer Luca, then, from the band, with his thoughts on 5 games that we've selected. So something for you to think about, Cass.
Okay.
Manchester City against Spurs, 12:30, live on talkSPORT. Wrexham against Sheffield Wednesday. Arsenal versus Leeds, the 5:30 tonight. Everton, Brighton and Newcastle against Liverpool. So, first of all, this is what Luca thinks will happen.
I'm Luca from Freight. These are my predictions.
I think for Man City Spurs, it'll definitely be a City win. But I think Spurs maybe might get like 1 goal, so maybe 4-1. For Wrexham v Sheffield Wednesday, I think Wrexham's just right now is on quite a confident streak, especially because they've gone up from league to league. I think it'll be Wrexham 2-1. Arsenal v Leeds, I think it's definitely Arsenal winning. I think quite comfortably as well, you know, they're looking very confident. I think an easy 3-0. Everton v Brighton. I think Brighton always at the start of the season will always gets a few wins and always gets themselves quite high up in the PL. So I think Brighton will win that another 3-1. And then Newcastle v Liverpool. I'm really excited to watch that game because Liverpool wanting Isaac, and there's been a bit of things with Isaac falling out with Newcastle. I think Liverpool will win it probably 3-0. I think they'll be able to keep a clean sheet, but if there's any injuries to Liverpool, then it might not be as well. But yeah, it'll be very interesting.
Ooh, all right. Some interesting predictions there from Luca. Maybe we should start with that last one because, like Luca, you're a Liverpool fan, as we all know. 3-0 win at Newcastle. That's a fun. That's live on talkSPORT, by the way. Monday
I think it'll be a lot tighter. Yeah. Because obviously Newcastle have gone with Anthony Gordon played centre forward and they really struggled to get a goal, even though they had a few chances at Villa. I think Liverpool won it 1-0. But it'll be a lot tighter. Even though I think Liverpool are going to get goals after goals in many games this season, I just see this being a bit of a fight in midfield, between the 3 that Newcastle have got and Liverpool's. I think it'll be really tight in that area.
Feisty atmosphere for that one, no
great
doubt.
game.
Let's then go back to the start, shall we? And the 12:30 kickoff today, Manchester City against Spurs. Luca's gone for a 4-1 win for the home team.
Yeah, I saw Spurs last weekend and thought they were decent, but it's different playing Burnley to Manchester City. I think Spurs will lose 2-1, but a much tighter game because there was a 25-minute period in the Wolves game where, City ended up winning comfortably, but it flattered them slightly because Larsson had a couple of chances for Wolves. I just think it'd be tighter, 2-1.
All right, well, Spurs have a decent recent record at City as well. What about the game that's live on talkSPORT 2, which sees Wrexham take on Sheffield Wednesday? Luca was saying there that, Wrexham on a high after promotion last season. Haven't quite got off to a high start in the league. They're yet to win, but he suggests a 2-1 win for the home team.
Yeah, I think Wrexham will win this one. Look, Sheffield Wednesday's problems have been well documented, having a lack of players. I think Wrexham will win 2-0.
Okay. Quickly moving on to the game at 5:30, which sees Arsenal take on Leeds. Leeds have never won at the Emirates, and he's gone for a 3-0 win, home win.
Well, really big side physically, Leeds, and they've really their stature of their side. and they'll be really decent at set pieces. They were very good against Everton, was easily the better team on the night. I think this will be much closer, and I just feel Arsenal are going to win it 1-0. Just 1-0, yeah.
Okay,
just don't see a lot of goals in that one.
And you mentioned Everton. Yeah, they were disappointing against Leeds. They're hosting for their first ever competitive game at Hill Dickinson Stadium today. Brighton 3-1, Lucas says, for the away team.
For the away team, I'm going to go a draw. I think this is very likely to be a draw, the way they both play. Everton could have got a draw at Leeds. They defended heroically for periods, but didn't have any chances of any note. But I think this will be a tight game, and I'll go 1-1.
Nice. Okay, another 1-1 draw for Brighton after their late equaliser that they conceded to Fulham last time out. So how this is going to work, we'll quickly tell you. We're going to tally up Cass's score at the end of the week and compare that to our average with our guests, and that's how we'll work out exactly who will win this league. We'll give 1 point for a correct winner, 3 points for an exact score. Keep scoring, see whether or not the amateur can beat the pro, or maybe the pro's expertise will shine through. Good luck to you, Cass, and to Luca too. And you're more than welcome to get in touch with your own predictions. You know how to get in touch. Just quickly, Cass, you want to quickly bring us up to speed with the story that you've seen in the papers today. I'm focusing on someone you know very well.
Yes, Keith Peacock, who was my first manager at Gillingham, is 80 now, Keith, and he was a legend at Charlton. And there's a great article by Joe Burstein in the Daily Mail, and it's 60 years ago. Charlton's Keith Peacock made history as the English game's first substitute, and that's what he's famous for. And it's quite funny because I use that as a trivia question.
Yeah, it's a great one.
And Keith actually says, because he's interviewed, and he says, "I'm best remembered for a game that I wasn't picked for." And he made 532 appearances for Charlton. An absolute legend. He's got a lounge named after him. Keith is an absolute gentleman. I've got him to. I thank him for everything to do in my career, because he initially was the one who took a chance.
This was at Gillingham.
At Gillingham, gave me an opportunity when I'd failed elsewhere, and it was an honour to play for him. An absolute gentleman. And there's some great quotes, because he was talking about being his first substitute and, coming on, which seems incredible now when we look at now you can have 7. And he at his time, he was just 1. But he was talking about being that first substitute. And he said he first learned, I was reading the evening paper has published all the results and reports of the games. Since then, it seems that it's grown in importance every year. I was even on a quiz show, the Chase. It was a question. And he said, I wasn't watching, but as soon as Bradley Walsh gave me as the answer, I started getting calls from friends and family. Because he talks about all the social media, that it wasn't there then. And so he's just travelling back. And it's just grown in importance along the way that he was the first substitute. And it's just a great story of a guy that was in... Look, he dedicated his whole life to football, Keith. And of all the managers I had, Keith had that special ability, because even if you did things really badly wrong, or he would always err on trying to get the best out of you as a person. Nice, yeah. And I really enjoyed that, because I'd done some things wrong that he stood by me and gave me an opportunity. So, but him being the first sub ever.
That's momentous.
That's 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So what a story that was. And who would have imagined, and Keith even says at the end of it, where we are now, it's based on American sports ideas of huge squads, huge teams, changes.
Benches are just getting bigger and bigger.
And it's right, that's where we are. Yeah.
Indeed. Great story. Thank you. That's in the Daily Mail today. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Get your talkSPORT exclusive offer today with 72% off a 2-year plan and an extra 4 months free. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at nordvpn.com/talksport. Up next, we're going to talk to a Rangers fan about their difficult start under Russell Martin. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Thank you very much for joining us this Saturday morning. It's the former Chelsea striker, Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer. And here are some of your headlines today. Carlton Morris scored an 86th-minute equaliser as Derby salvaged their first point of this championship season with a 1-1 draw against Bristol City. Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers has dismissed suggestions of a conflict between him and the Celtic board and insists he'll not leave before the end of his contract. And it's been a busy week on talkSPORT.com. So here's talkSPORT's Sean O'Brien with what you need to know.
Lots happening over on talkSPORT.com, but let's start in the world of football. Along with all the best comments from Friday's Premier League press conferences and all the latest transfer news, you can also find out why top-flight goalkeepers are upset with this season's new ball and why Adrien Rabiot's mum is fuming over in France. In boxing, watch Tyson Fury reunite with his dad John in new training footage that has fans dreaming of another comeback. And in the world of golf, Team Europe have one automatic place left on their Ryder Cup team, and it will be locked in this weekend. You can read about that and so much more over on talkSPORT.com.
Yeah, that is the website then for you to check out. Okay, let's turn our attentions to Rangers, Cass. It's not been the ideal start to their season under new boss Russell Martin, with 2 draws from 2 games in the league. This past week also saw a really poor performance at Ibrox in what turned out to be a 3-1 loss to Club Brugge in Champions League qualification. They were actually 3-0 down inside the first 20 minutes of that game. Russell Martin spoke afterwards saying the team didn't handle the occasion well enough.
There's been a fragility of this club for a long, long time, so it's not a new thing. So when I talk about change and changing habits and trying to act in a certain way all the time, it's not easy. So when I say as a club we didn't react very well to them moments, we didn't. Like players, supporters, everyone, because the club's had a lot of pain over the however many years, bar one season, I think, in the last 14 or 15 years. So that, for the players, is really difficult to work through and get over. The fact they did at half-time in the second half, they were fantastic. I think gives us a lot of excitement and hope for what's going to come. The precursor to change is pain, very often. The club's bounced around with different ideas, different plans, really been hinged on emotion, making decisions just on a quick reaction. So now we have owners and leadership team that understand where the club's been and where it's at and where it needs to go to, but they also understand that's not going to come without a bit of pain.
Okay, so that's what Russell Martin had to say, Cass, after that defeat. Joining us now to discuss plenty about the team is host of the Rangers Ramble podcast, Martin Douglas. Martin, good morning. How are you?
Hi, Martin.
Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, Cass. I will just correct you. It's the Rangers Rabble, but I'll allow you.
It says Ram. I'm so sorry, but thank you for correcting me on that. We won't be asking you on again because nobody corrects me, Martin. No. It's nicely done. Listen. It has been a difficult start, hasn't it, for Russell Martin? There's no doubt about that. And obviously he's done. He's been quite extraordinary in some of his post-match press conferences that we've heard, talking there about fragility in this team and needing changes. And you go back to, forgive me, I forget which game it was, where he was suggesting there were certain players not pulling their weight in a game, and then they didn't play in
was that Motherwell in the opening game of the season?
Motherwell,
that's it. I mean, do you agree with what he has to say, or are you there just a little bit alarmed that he's already gone two-footed, it feels, into a lot of the team there?
I had absolutely no issue with the way he responded after the Motherwell game. But Russell Martin speaks a lot, and we've had previous managers that have come out and they've gave us the talk about, no, trust the process, it's going to get better, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I don't know many supporters who have got any faith in Russell Martin. And not a lot of us wanted him before he came in the door. And he needed a strong start. And that performance against Motherwell was pathetic. And the performance the following week against Dundee was even worse. Dundee, a team who many of us expect to get relegated this season, come to Ibrox and have absolutely no issue getting a 1-1 draw, and they can probably feel a bit of injustice that they didn't get the win. So, no, Russell Martin has zero faith, in my opinion, with the majority of the Rangers support. There's already a lot of supporters saying that it has to go after just a couple of games in the league. I think the performances, after every game, the performances are getting worse. In Europe, we've done relatively well, to give them some credit, to get to the playoff round. Nobody expected it to be easy against Bruges. Nobody expected us to go out and dominate, and a lot of supporters would probably admit to you that they probably expected Bruges to be a step too far, but nobody expected to get an absolute thumping in the first 20 minutes. It's not acceptable.
Yeah, Martin, there's a few issues there because, you know, when you hear managers sometimes say this is a process and we were going to have to foul, and I'm like, well, not really. It's not the case. If you're going to talk about failing for Rangers is like coming second to Celtic, and that was vice versa. Failure for Celtic was if they come second to Rangers. So you're the second, or, you know, you're number 1 and 2 always in Scotland is Rangers and Celtic. So you have a big advantage, and you've already played Motherwell and Dundee, and then you've got Hearts, St Mirren and Celtic coming up, and you could be out of the title race by the end of August. So and I feel from the outside there's a little bit, I need to buy time here.
we've spent almost 20 million in this transfer window. Now, when you compare that to England, I get that that's peanuts, right? But in Scotland, that is a lot of money. And so we've spent nearly 20 million. Our back four, 3 of them are loans as well, which is a bit concerning, I think, for a lot of supporters. And we have Drewby Motherwell on the opening day of the season and Drewby Dundee. That's not acceptable no matter what way you look at it. The performances aren't acceptable no matter what way you look at it. And I agree with you, Cass. You cannot go into a season and keep making up excuses as to why you don't perform well. If we had won the 2 games but the performances weren't great, then the supporters would sit back and go, right, okay, well, but at least we can see the style of play that Martin's trying to introduce. We're getting the wins, but we're not playing well. We're an absolute mess, Faye.
Martin, can I ask you a question?
The whole team.
A question. Obviously, Martin's been he's been criticised before, Russell Martin, for his playing style. How's that happened? Tell us what you've witnessed from the way that Rangers. Is it obsessive football of keeping the ball playing out from every area in the pitch and even in danger areas? Still,
yes. That's exactly what it is, and we do not have the players to be able to play that system. John Souttar, who has been our captain, as Tavernier hasn't been getting a start. John Souttar does not have the ability to bring the ball out and play it out from the back, and we've been caught out so many times. The issue, I think, with Russell Martin's system is that I don't think the players have got any idea what they're doing. The midfield has been absolutely non-existent, and the gaps in the midfield is so easy to play through. 2 or 3 passes from the opposition and they're right through on goal. The strikers completely null and void in Russell Martin's system. To give you an example, one of our new signings, Ant-Man, came on against Pilsen, had just signed the day before. Outstanding performance. 2 weeks later, under a bit of training for Russell Martin, and he looks like a completely different player. So I don't actually fully understand what Russell Martin's trying to do. I know it's this complete pep possession football. As Rangers supporters, we don't care. We don't care about a pep style of play. We just want to win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's spoken before about he won't compromise, certainly on his tactics and. But
you've got to have. It's a flawed idea.
But he said he won't.
No,
that's how he wants to play. That's what he said at Southampton, and that's what he has reiterated throughout his managerial career.
Yeah, now you're totally right, but it's a flawed idea. As Martin is talking about here, if the players are not capable of doing what he's trying, you have to go. If you want to give a ball into a midfield and you want to give it in a tight area, give it to Modric, give it to someone like Rodri at Man City, give it to Gravenberg at Liverpool. But if you're giving it to a player that isn't his strength, you're going to lose games.
So Martin, then what's the best you can hope for this season? Because it does sound as though you're already losing a little bit of faith in the manager, it feels.
Oh, it's really bad. It's really bad. Look, I hope I'm completely wrong. I really do. But I don't. There's no scenario I see looking at this team where we finish anywhere but second. I really don't see it. Obviously, the hope is that somehow the team click and we win cups and we go on and win the league. Because if you look at our neighbours across the city, they're not exactly in a fantastic position themselves. Really horrible European result for them as well. And one of the biggest problems I've got is the whole time that Brendan Rodgers has been the Celtic manager, he's never been put under any real sustained pressure. I can't remember a time where we've really done that. And I don't think it's going to be the same again this season. But Natalie, I'll tell you, I won't be surprised if we drop points tomorrow at St Mirren and then go on and beat Celtic, because that's what this Rangers team do. We don't really seem to have many issues playing Celtic. It's the rest of the teams in the league that we drop points against. And if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would be putting some money on us dropping points to St Mirren and then beating Celtic.
Crikey. Oh, I'm sorry, Martin. We dragged you out of bed this morning to talk such negativity about your team.
Apologies for being so negative.
Well, you're only speaking as you find, and that's unfortunately
honest conversation. That's what it is, and I get it. Rangers and Celtic are two fantastic football clubs that draw in enormous fans, but if you're going to be downbeat as a manager to this failure, it's not going to work in Scotland. You did it either way, Celtic or Rangers. if you were downbeat about their clubs, supporters like Martin, they just won't accept it.
Well, Martin, thank you. And apologies once more. Rangers Rabble podcast is what you're part of. Thank you. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Oh, dear. Gosh, we've had West Ham disappointment, Rangers disappointment.
And we're happy now. We're doing all happy talk early on.
I know. Yeah, there is a happy playlist that you can find.
Miserable list. Heaven knows I'm miserable now.
Oh, I do have a playlist that's like, I use Spotify as my playlist provider, and you can use emojis. So it's just a broken heart is the emoji I use. 'Cause if I ever go through times where it's a bit tough, I'm like, put the sad one on. Just need it every now and then. Okay, coming up next, we're going to look ahead to a huge weekend in the EFL. Look back on last night's action too on talkSPORT 2 as Derby and Bristol City played out a 1-1 draw. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT.
unlocker of defensive depth.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast, live on your radio, YouTube and smart TV. A man who is so happy he gives Elton John a run for his money when it comes to spectacles. That's Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer. What colour are these? Aqua? Turquoise?
Yes, yeah. A bit swimming pool-like, can't they? That colour.
That's right. Do you think you need to put them away for the after the summer?
I'm going to have to go to the brown ones quite soon.
Autumnal.
Yeah.
I hear you. Cass is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer. Here are some of your headlines today. Everton have agreed a deal worth £42 million for Southampton wonder kid Tyler Dibling. The Toffees take on Brighton in their first game at their new Hill Dickinson Stadium tomorrow afternoon. talkSPORT understands Nuno Espirito Santo's position as Nottingham Forest manager is uncertain after an apparent breakdown in his relationship with the owner Evangelos Marinakis. He is, though, expected to be in the dugout for tomorrow's game with Crystal Palace. And ahead of that game, Forest midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White told talkSPORT how hard it would have been for him to leave when he was heavily linked with Spurs earlier this summer.
Everything that happened this summer, it was it hit home a bit. Like, I've been through a lot with this club these past 3 years, and to feel like I was gonna miss out on, what we achieved last season sort of broke me a little bit. And I wanted to go through this next stage with Forest and, play Europa League football with them, because, me and a few others were the ones that 3 years ago we came in. This was our goal, to stay in the league and try and push up. And last season we probably did achieve more than what we expected to do. But I feel like that's credit to the players, to the manager, to the owner for investing well and, just creating that real bond in the team. And like I said, it's a home from home. So I sort of had that broken-hearted feeling, like when you split up with your first childhood girlfriend.
Yeah. That is Morgan Gibbs-White speaking to our very own Max Scott, and you'll hear more from Morgan Gibbs-White tomorrow and throughout here on talkSPORT. A massive, massive deal for them to keep hold of him.
Absolutely, and he's conducting himself brilliantly.
Yeah.
I spoke to Sean Derry in midweek and we chatted about Morgan Gibbs-White. Obviously, I don't think he was there as a player, but his reputation at Wolves is that all he was guilty and why he left Wolves is because he wanted to play. He wanted to play football, and that's not a crime. He was a young lad, and also he'd done really well, and the club didn't want him given the contract that he felt he wanted to be on a certain wage in comparison, not being greedy. But I'll tell you what, he's absolutely done the right thing how he handled it in the summer. Yes, he didn't come about going to Tottenham. Yes, Nottingham Forest have rewarded him with a new contract, but he's wanted to stay there. That's, he's not thrown out his toys in any way. So, fair play. And by the way, he was brilliant in the first game.
Yeah.
Against Brentford. He was superb.
Yeah. OK, well, as I say, we'll have more from Morgan Gibbs-White throughout. Now, it's been a mixed start for some in the EFL, from Charlton's solid return to the Championship to Plymouth struggling to adapt after major step changes in league level. Let's discuss this game and a few more as well with our EFL expert, Simon Watts, who joins us this morning. Simon, how are you?
Hi, Simon.
Yeah, very good, thanks. Very good. Nice to speak to you all again.
And you as always. Charlton face Leicester in today's early kickoff. There's a number of early kickoffs, as they always are now. Unbeaten so far. It's a milestone game for them. Their 1,000th home league match in the second tier, and yet to concede a goal this season. What do you... With regards to Charlton, are we overlooking them as a contender perhaps for promotion?
I wouldn't go as far as that yet, but what I would say is that of those 1,000 matches at this level, they've probably not been on such a good run at home on many occasions. 16 games unbeaten if you stretch that back to last season in League One, and they continued it on the opening day. Last-minute victory against Watford, which has really set the tone for a great, solid start. Nathan Jones' side haven't conceded yet. At the beginning of last season, they went on a similar run where, they were not particularly pretty to watch. They got better as the season went on, but they just didn't concede goals. And they've been pretty aggressive in their transfer approach as well. Over 10 new signings since they won at Wembley and got promoted to the Championship. And it's yielded 4 points on the board, because a really credible draw down at Bristol City, beat Sheffield United 4-1 on the opening day. You compare that to Leicester. It's early days, of course, but they're a point ahead of them in the table. But I would imagine from a Leicester City point of view, particularly given their result last week, they lost away at Preston. This is going to be a real kind of benchmark as to whether they're up to the challenge of the Championship this year, because you go into a team who are absolutely riding that wave of optimism after promotion to the Championship this year. The Valley generates a brilliant atmosphere on days like this, a lunchtime kickoff, and Leicester, I think, could find this really tricky.
Southampton taking on Stoke. Stoke, surprisingly, in some ways, leading the Championship only after 2 games. But Southampton started decent enough under Will Steele as well. So an intriguing one. Plus, I'm looking at Norwich versus Middlesbrough as another one.
Yeah, I think that, Southampton are a difficult club to gauge at the minute, as you were talking about just now. Tyler Diblin's on his way out now to Everton, and it's a big rebuild there and a difficult job for any manager, let alone coming into English football. Will Steele management for the first time at 32 years of age. But, they ground out a result against Wrexham on opening day. Some might have said it was a little fortunate. Others might point and say, well, actually, he showed great character to score 2 late goals when you're 1-0 down against the team who've come up. Then they went and drew at Ipswich last week, which obviously was a great result for them. Stoke, really interesting team. I think year on year, people look at Stoke as an outsider for the playoffs, but they're massive underachievers at Championship level. But the appointment of Mark Robins in the second half of last season, I think, really got optimism that they've got a wily old Championship campaigner who overachieves. It took a while to shake up that squad that were in real malaise when he took over, but what a great start to this season. Okay, the game they won last week away at Sheffield Wednesday, you would have expected them to. Nevertheless, though, they're playing some good football, scored some really good goals as well, scored in the first minute of each half last weekend. So I think, you look at Mark Robins and his records, Stoke fans have real cause for optimism.
And a quick word on Plymouth. Obviously, 4 games, 4 defeats in League One after their relegation last season. Are there deeper issues at stake with Plymouth, or is this just a hangover from last season?
Yeah, I mean, supporters there, I think, have been genuinely pretty worried. It's a real strange one, actually, because, they were promoted, spent 2 years in the Championship and looked like a great example of a very well-run club with one of the smallest budgets in the division. Last year, obviously, they went through a couple of managers. They had a great win against Liverpool in the Cup, but went down. Inevitably, some players have left. And I think the biggest problem for Tom Cleverley has been just putting that squad together. They've been quite aggressive this week. They signed a new centre-half. They signed a striker, Lauren Talage, from Port Vale for £1.2 million. So the board are certainly backing the manager. But you probably saw that awkward social media thing that went around last week when he was kind of kept waiting when they didn't realise they were live streaming. And, he looked like an absolutely dejected young manager. But I think this has got to be seen at Plymouth this year as a rebuild job. And, they have had so many managers. When you think Stephen Schumacher got them promoted, then left and went to Stoke in such a fairly short period of time. They need stability. They need somebody to come in and build their own team. And I think that Tom Cleverley proved last year at Watford, in probably far more precarious circumstances when it comes to impressing the owners, that he can do a job and he can bring everyone together. So even though they've lost their first 4 matches, I do expect them to come again, even though maybe this year could be a season of consolidation.
Brilliant. Cheers, Simon.
Cheers,
Thank
Simon.
you. We will have commentary of 2 matches from the Championship today, live and exclusive to talkSPORT 2, as Charlton take on Leicester at 12:30 before Wrexham host Sheffield Wednesday at 3. talkSPORT 2 is your home for the EFL for all of your weekend's action. Coming up next, we'll look ahead to today's 12:30 commentary live on talkSPORT in the Premier League, which sees Manchester City taking on Spurs.
The Premier League's profit and sustainability rules are sold to us as financial fair play, a way to keep clubs from going bust. But there are those who feel it's starting to look a lot like a system that protects the big boys and keeps the rest in their lane. Here's how it works and why people feel that way. So clubs can only lose 105 million quid over 3 years, which sounds fair, but here's the kicker. Your limit includes how much you earn. So if you're one of the traditional top 6, you've got massive global revenue streams and you can spend way more while still technically following the rules. Meanwhile, ambitious clubs who've got money like Newcastle, Villa or Forest, well, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Newcastle might be backed by Saudi billions, but they just can't splurge the cash. Their commercial income isn't there yet. Want to buy world-class talent? Well, PSR says to them, your owner might have the money, but you're not making enough in shirt sales in Asia for that. The Magpies won their first domestic trophy since 1955, qualified for the Champions League, which you'd think would be a great springboard for them to go on and start building a team to challenge at the top. But because of PSR restraints, they couldn't break their wage structure for a new Alexander Isak contract, and look what's happened there. Nottingham Forest tried to invest to survive. They did that, but they got punished anyway. Meanwhile, clubs like Spurs, until last season, hadn't won a trophy in over 18 years, but because they rake in cash from the new stadium, they get a much bigger PSR allowance than a newly promoted club who are just trying to stay up. And let's not forget the loopholes these big boys are exploiting. Chelsea found the trick with those long contracts, selling the women's team. City are masters of related party sponsorships. Etihad this, Etisalat that, all within the rules, and fair play to them for capitalising on those opportunities. But what about the smaller clubs? They don't have that luxury. Now look, financial sustainability matters. Nobody wants another Bury or Morecambe situation. But there's increasing concern that rather than levelling the playing field, the current rules cement the existing hierarchy. So what's the solution? Well, either loosen the reins so ambitious clubs can spend within their means, or cap spending based on something other than revenue. Otherwise, we're just watching the same 6 teams swapping silverware most seasons while the rest play musical chairs for 7th. And that, folks, ain't what the Premier League was built on.
Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Thank you very much for joining us this Saturday morning. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me is the former Celtic and Marseille striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
We've got loads for you to come in the final hour of the show. Last night, Chelsea thrashed West Ham in the Friday night football.
It has transformed into a complete hammer horror show. West Ham 1, Chelsea 5, and it could get a lot worse yet.
We'll look ahead to today's Premier League action. Can Leeds cause an upset at the Emirates against Arsenal?
In this Premier League season, it's not like we just will try to park the bus, and it's also important to try to create chances, to scare them, and to be dangerous ourselves, and to play positive football and try to create chances and try to score goals.
And we'll have more on Nuno Espirito Santo's interesting relationship with Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis.
Last season was very, very, very close, almost daily basis. This season, not so well. But my concern is the squad and the season that we have ahead of us. But our relations has changed.
Yes, we will discuss that one a little bit later on. But right now, let's take a look ahead to today's unmissable sporting action with NordVPN.
Breakfast sports preview on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Get an exclusive 72% off a 2-year plan plus an extra month and a £50 Amazon gift card for free. Terms and conditions apply.
OK, just to run you through what's going to be happening in the Premier League today. 5 games coming your way, starting at the Etihad for the 12:30 kickoff, which is live on talkSPORT. It's Manchester City against Spurs. Then there are 3 o'clock kickoffs: Bournemouth, Wolves, Burnley, Sunderland and Brentford against Villa, before Leeds head to the Emirates to take on Arsenal in the 5:30 game. Don't forget, talkSPORT, as I say, bringing you live commentary of the early kickoff, but then from 2:30 with GameDay Live and Adrian Durham, with our reporters up and down the land. They'll keep you right across what happens in the Premier League and elsewhere too, so don't miss that. But before all of those games on GameDay Live that I've mentioned, we have an absolute cracker for you, live and exclusive on talkSPORT, as Manchester City take on Spurs.
Well, I didn't think I'd be reading this out. It is Manchester City 0, Tottenham 4.
Honestly, the Premier League, it never fails to deliver.
Oh, Spurs have got an equaliser. You cannot believe it. 3-3. Pep's kryptonite. Docker with a low ball in, and Haaland will score.
I expect Man City to be a force.
I cannot assure you, but the signals is, will be better.
Balls nil, City 4.
Man City suddenly back in the equation.
Charlison just helped himself to his second. This time, it is a brilliant overhead kick. Thomas Frank's tenure as Spurs boss in the Premier League is off to a flyer.
It's always about winning. Okay, we need to make the team win.
Right footed swinging cross, and Kudus is there!
You look at that squad and the talk of 1 or 2 more signings coming in, I can see them in the top 6 this year.
I think they'll have a really, really, really good season.
We'll do everything we can to beat City next Saturday.
Well, it should be a cracker then. And to discuss the game in more detail, pleased to say joining us is the former Manchester City midfielder, Nicky Summerby. Nicky, how are you?
Nicky?
Very well. Very excited. I think everyone's excited with the Premier League. There's a feel about it, and the players what have come into the various clubs. We had a little bit of a sample of it last week, and we want more of it. So, very excited.
Well, I was going to add to that, Nicky, because last year you finished 13 points behind Liverpool. A lot of expectation, rightly so, on City to win it. It didn't happen. It felt like a season of transition. This year you've done a bit of business. You've certainly done loads in January. Rangers coming in. John Stones being fit, I thought, was a big one for City, because they really missed him when he's not there. Oscar Bob getting in the team, Trafford. So there's quite a lot of change at City, Nicky.
Yeah, it is, and for the first time in a lot of years, is they probably had to take a little bit of criticism, which I thought was strange, from being when I played at Manchester City to the way the club is now and the success what they've had over the 10, 12, 15 years or whatever. There was always going to be a bit of a drop, and I think they had to take that, and I think they've come back, and it does help as well with Liverpool being favourites. This is the first time in a long time Manchester City aren't favourites, and I think Pep will enjoy that. I think he'll be happy being the underdog, if we can say that. But a few people were surprised in the opening game. Reinders, I remember watching him in the Euros, and he got his opportunity because De Jong from Barcelona was injured, and I was impressed with him. He has attributes of Kevin De Bruyne. He scores goals. He has energy. Oscar Bob, you said as well, I think he's going to have a really big season. You look at the new, like the Shirkies, what have come in. I think Oscar Bob will be, I think it's the time for him to mature and take it on to the next level. And let's not forget as well with Haaland, he's the best. He's the goal scorer. He's the one that will give you these amounts of goals. And he had a bad season last season, and it was 20-odd goals or 25-plus goals or whatever. So I think City, keeping the likes of Stones is important, as you said. I think they will be sitting pretty. And as what Pep usually does, he can make a couple of mistakes, but if they're there or thereabouts at the start of February, that's when they start to come alive, because they know what to do.
It's an interesting one with Tottenham, though, because they don't have the best of records, really, against them. They've only won 4 of their last 12 Premier League meetings against them. So what do you think Spurs have that tends to be a foil for City?
I don't know. It's always been a problem. I think City have only won 1 out of 4 at the Etihad. It's a huge problem. And last season, they dismantled them. It was a problem. The season before I think it made up for it, where City needed to win when they went on to win the title at Tottenham's ground. So they were okay there. But there's something about Tottenham. It's the bogey club. It's like it's their cup final. You look at them going into it, and you think, well, no, it's going to be about City, but they put a performance together. But I don't know this time. I think it's been a difficult week for Spurs. With this Eze situation, it's not good. Any way you look at it, the deal should have been done. And if he did go, because this boy's an exceptional talent, and it would have taken Spurs to another level. He really is a player. So I think with that there, with Richarlison as well, was he involved in the move and, you know, and how well he started it off? I think this will go in the favour of Manchester City. I don't think it's going to be what we've seen. I don't see that performance. I see City really turning up and doing a job today, only because of what's gone in the midweek as well with Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a couple of things there, Nicky, where, you know, Erling Haaland, you know, his numbers, he had lots of injuries last year. You saw the last season of Kevin De Bruyne. There was question marks over Bernardo Silva. You know, Ruben Dias has signed a new deal. Like, so it feels like last season, a lot of the negativity that happened this year, you've come into the season, it feels like they just seem to be, for me, more optimistic news coming out of City now.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And people don't know that much about the signings, you know, and that's why all our eyes are going to be looking at all these. I mean, you look at the boy Shirky as well. I mean, he's a trick pot. He's a bit of a, can I say a trick pot? He's got that bit of flair. He flicks it. He does spits of magic. And they're different types of players. But, you know...
Harlem Globetrotter, Nicky.
He's one of those. That's what we want. We like characters, don't we, in football? And he's definitely got that. But he's the serial winners. You know, all the team there in the dressing room. It's about keeping them fit. And Stones is part of that, and Diaz as well. And you look at the squad, what they've got. You know, they must be thinking it was difficult for them to have the highs of winning everything and being as successful as what they had to it. All of a sudden, looking like it had gone wrong. Is this the end? Is it the end for Pep? What's the matter with these players? You know, I thought people were possibly a little bit rude by saying, well, Pep's not read it. He's not read it. He's not looked when they won the league. Hang on, we need to change. I don't think anybody expected it. There had to be a dip at a certain point, and that was it. But they look like they're back. They look like they've got together. And as I said, Liverpool being the favourites and everyone talking about Liverpool is only good for City, because you can't forget about them for what they've done. Over the last decade, it's phenomenal, and they know what to do. If they get that confidence back, that belief back, and all of a sudden they hit it at the right areas, as I said, this is when they know how to go and win a league. If you look at Arteta, the money what he spent, he's got everything. He's got the perfect team there, but he doesn't know how to get over the line. If Manchester City go up against Liverpool, they got the psychological edge of knowing that if they go up against Liverpool, that they've done it time and time again, and they've gone through and won the league. So City will sit pretty, and they will gel this team together. I'd like to have seen Rodrigo from Real Madrid. I know that's pushing it a little bit too much, whether that's all done and dusted, but I thought he'd have been wonderful. But yeah, City are good to go. And I'm looking forward to the game today, looking forward to seeing what Tottenham bring, but I'm just looking forward to seeing this new look Manchester City and this new feeling around the Etihad. I mean, I'll give you an idea. I mean, I took my son, remember Georgie Kinclatsy?
Yes, of course, with Quinny.
So we're good friends. So we meet up in the sun. We take our two sons to the Man City summer camp. I mean, you won't recognise us. I mean, Georgie looks like, I don't know what he looks like and what I look like. We don't look like anything. We like our food when we finish playing football. Put it that way. So we've turned up, and to go and look at City and to see how it is run from the bottom to the top. My son's a 9-year-old boy. Straight away, what diet's he having? People picking him up, looking after them throughout the whole campaign, not through the campaign, through a week. And to go to City and to see, you know, you look at it and you think, well, I understand why you're successful, because this is a well-run football club from the detail, from the bottom to the top. And it's a different animal altogether from when I played there. So it's a success story, and it has been a successful, and it will continue to be as well, because the way it is run. I mean, this is just taking boys for a little summer camp, but everything about it was spot on, the way they looked after everybody.
Yeah, brilliant. Nicky, it's been
Cheers,
great.
Nicky.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. By the way, quick one for you.
Go on.
We've had all this Oasis throughout the summer. Just look in my far corner, not that one, the other one.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Now, this was when Liam Gallagher, me and Paul Lay went to see them before anybody else. They're at the Hacienda. And a friend of mine said, come and watch this new band, will you? And this was before they went massive. So the photograph there was before. I mean, they sent a postcard through after, and they said to Nicky and Paul, we're in Tokyo, flying the blue flag. And from then on, they just rocketed. They went massive, and that was one of the photos before anybody, before they all jumped on the back of it.
Oh, look at you, a trendsetter, Nicky. No surprise at all. Fabulous. Thank you, Nicky.
Cheers, Nicky.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube and on your smart TV, you will have seen what Nikki was pointing there, a photograph of Liam Gallagher there behind him as well.
Paul Lake.
At the Hacienda, I think, is no more.
Yeah. No, it doesn't exist now, no.
Yeah. Manchester City against Spurs, live this afternoon at 12:30 with Reshman Chowdhury, Sam Matterface and the former West Ham striker Dean Ashton. And we'll bring you all the build-up from 11 on Game Day exclusive.
Breakfast Sports Preview on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Get an exclusive 72% off a 2-year plan plus an extra month and a £50 Amazon gift card for free. Terms and conditions apply.
OK, next up, we'll bring in the latest odds from Coral, and later we'll look ahead to Leeds' trip to Arsenal with former Leeds manager Kevin Blackwell. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Get your talkSPORT exclusive offer today with 72% off a 2-year plan and an extra 4 months free. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at nordvpn.com/talksport.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about Tony. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
You're tuning into the Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. We are live on your radio, YouTube and smart TV. It is two-time League 2 winner, Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer, with you until 9. There are only a few days left to enter our VIP competition as the NFL returns to Wembley in October. The Los Angeles Rams takes on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're giving you the chance to win 6 seats in a private box with full hospitality plus £5,000 spending money. But it all ends on Monday, so you've got to be quick. Here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
Best of luck for that. Now, I don't know if Darren in Poole is taking the mickey or not. He says, Natalie, did you know Chelsea played last night? It's just you haven't mentioned it. If it was Liverpool, it would be different.
We mentioned them earlier, but the whole story really is West Ham is the story, yeah. And look, they won comfortably and...
We have talked about the game at the start of the show, Darren. It's not our fault if you're only just tuning in, mate. But I appreciate the message nonetheless. Thank you all the same. But we have, I promise you, talked about it. OK, let's bring you the latest odds from Coral.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Coral, the home of a free-to-play Golden Rewards Shaker. 18 plus max 1 reward per player per selected Shaker day. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.org.
Good morning, John Hill. How are you?
John?
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Kath.
Gosh, lots for us to get through. I don't know if you have it to hand, John, but I'm going to go straight in just to please Darren. The Premier League title race, have you got anything on that for us with Chelsea in the market?
We certainly have. Look, I was up early enough. I heard you talking about the match. I caught it early doors. Don't worry about that. But Chelsea, comfortable victory. I think you're quite right, really, Cass. I think if you're a West Ham fan, you're going to be quite concerned after that performance. And I think Graham Potter's under serious pressure now, isn't he? There's no doubt about that. But in terms of Chelsea and the outright betting, still 8-1. They're fourth best behind Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. So, despite them being world champions and a decent start to the season, we've got them fourth best behind those teams. Is that about right for you, Cass?
Yeah, I think so. Look, Chelsea struggled against Palace to open them up last weekend. For 25 minutes last night, they didn't get going, and as soon as West Ham gifted them, Chelsea know they've got to be better than what we've seen so far. There's more to come from Chelsea, but 8-1's probably about right.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about potential with City, because they're taking on Spurs? What's the price in here, John? Because City are going to be odds on, but how sure?
Well, they're 1-2. I thought they were really good, actually, in that opening game. I think it's a new era, isn't it, at Manchester City? I think the additions they've brought into the squad look good in that opening game. And they'll have to bounce back from last year, though. If you remember, all the lines back to 12 months ago, beaten 4-0 in this fixture, Manchester City against Spurs. That was a massive upset, wasn't it, early doors last season? And this is a fixture that generally throws up goals. I'm just looking at the last 6 games at the Etihad. 4-0 last year, 3-0 the year before. They've had a 4-2 in there, a 3-2 to Spurs. So generally throws up goals. So let's hope we get another feast of goals today. If you fancy Spurs to win, they're just a little bit shorter than 5-1 today. So decent price on Spurs to keep up their 100% start to the season. The draw is available at 18-5. And just looking at the first goal scorer market, as ever, Haaland's going to be popular as he always is. And he's 5-2 to score the opening goal in the game.
Talk us through the rest of the day's Premier League action then, John.
Yeah, plenty of games at 3 o'clock today, which is probably going to be a rarity this season, I think, in the Premier League, isn't it? So, Bournemouth against Wolves, Bournemouth 5-6. Despite being beaten by Liverpool in that opening game, I thought Bournemouth played really well at Anfield. So, no surprise to see them odds are at 5-6. And then Brentford versus Aston Villa. It's been a difficult summer for your team, hasn't it, Natalie? They're 21-10 to prevail against Villa today. Villa 6-5 in that one. And then Burnley versus Sunderland, 2 of the newcomers in the Premier League. Excellent performance from Sunderland last weekend in their opening game. They're 23-10, I should say, to prevail in this one. Burnley 13-10. So those are the 3 kickoffs at 3 o'clock.
The 5:30, obviously a great game. Arsenal taking on Leeds. Both started with a victory this season.
They have, yeah, absolutely. And Arsenal have actually been popular this week in the outright market, Cass. Obviously, adding to the squad, getting Eze into the squad, looking to go to Spurs, wasn't he? And they cake crashed that transfer. I think it's a great signing, actually, for Arsenal, and that strengthened their title potentials. They're 9-4 to win the title now, Arsenal, in the outright betting, and 4-11 to prevail against Leeds today. They did it the hard way at Old Trafford, didn't they? In many ways, it was the old Arsenal 1-0, wasn't it? Getting the job done, getting an early goal and sitting back and defending resolutely. So good performance from Arsenal. They're 4-11 to follow it up. And Leeds, as you mentioned, victory last weekend in their opening game against Everton. They're 7-1 to win at the Emirates Stadium.
And just the racing, final day of the Ebor Festival at York.
It is indeed, yeah. The Ebor, it's one of the richest handicaps in the world, actually. I think it's worth £300,000 to the winner. So real big pot up for grabs in the 335 at York today. And it's Willie Mullins, renowned for his jumpers. He's got a flat horse today looking to pick up some prize money. Hip Hop de Loire is the favourite in this one. It's the 3-1 favourite for Willie Mullins. Colin Keane comes over for the ride on board the Willie Mullins mount there. And we also have a runner at Carmel today. It's the Coral Racing Club runner. Lady Mendoza features in the 320. So best of luck to the Coral Racing Club members who'll be heading up there to Carmel. Lovely part of the world up in the Lake District and renowned for sticky toffee pudding up there. So if you ever head up to Cartmouth, guys, get yourself a sticky toffee pudding bag on course there. You will not regret it, trust me. I've had many of them.
Yeah,
sounds
sounds
I'm not
nice.
a fan of sticky toffee
No,
pudding.
I love pudding, full stop.
Well, I do like a pudding, just not sticky toffee. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the whole, you'll love this one.
All right, that'll win.
Ice cream, and honestly,
that'll win me
next time
over.
I get there, Natalie, I'll bring you one back.
Oh, thanks, John.
Bread pudding for me, John. I'm more of a bread pudding
Very
with
nice.
cream.
Can't beat that, can you, on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
Make sure you write down our shopping list. Thanks, John. That was
Cheers, guys.
John Hill from Coral. It's 18 and over. BeGambleAware.org. Please do gamble responsibly.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Coral, the home of the free-to-play Golden Rewards Shaker. 18 plus max 1 reward per player per selected Shaker day. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. GambleAware.org.
All right, on the way next here on the Weekend Sports Breakfast, we'll concentrate on that 5:30 kickoff for the Emirates as Arsenal take on Leeds. Good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. The Republic of Ireland's fourth highest goal scorer, Tony Cascarino, is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer, as we take you through until 9. Here are some of your headlines today. Manchester United are making progress in talks with Royal Antwerp to sign the goalkeeper Sen Lemen.
Is it E-L-E-M-E?
Yeah. NS at the end.
Oh, NS.
Yes.
Right.
The deal will be worth a reported £17.5 million. Manchester City defender Ruben Diaz has signed a 2-year contract extension with the option of a further 12 months. It will keep the City captain at the club until 2029. And ahead of the game today versus Leeds, Mikel Arteta says he is excited for his team to play in front of the Emirates fans for the first time this season.
Yeah, it's always very special. Very excited for the first game. It builds a different energy around the stadium. I'm sure they missed it. They missed the team. We have certainly missed our supporters and that connection. And tomorrow, I'm sure from the first whistle, I think everybody's going to be at it and we're going to have a good game.
Lots of optimism there for Mikel Arteta.
There's a lot of excitement at the Emirates.
Yes. Before we continue to talk about it, I just want to get your take on something, if you don't mind. Because I don't know if Jim wants to be single. This is the message we've had.
Jim. Who's Jim?
Jim that's messaged him. He says, good morning, Natalie and Cass. Off to the War Memorial Athletic Ground to watch the mighty Stourbridge versus Spalding in the Southern League Premier Central. While this is the key part, the Dragon, my girlfriend Kira, is at the Bescot to watch her beloved Walsall. I don't know if Jim wants to be single. Calling her the Dragon, Jim. Is that wise? Hopefully she's not listening.
Oh, dear. Jim's got away with words.
Slightly alarming. But hopefully, if she is the Dragon and she knows she's the Dragon, then that's fine.
I wonder what she calls Jim. What do you reckon Jim's being called?
Probably can't say it on air, maybe. But anyway, appreciate it nonetheless. As we were saying then, there is the 5:30 kickoff at the Emirates today, which sees Arsenal take on newly promoted Leeds. Both clubs picked up impressive 1-0 victories on the opening weekend, with Arsenal edging past Manchester United at Old Trafford and Leeds needing a controversial late penalty to deservedly beat Everton on Monday night. The opening weekend saw actually 2 newly promoted teams win for the first time since 2021-22, and only the third time it has happened in the Premier League era. So as many are asking the question of, can Leeds defy the odds and stay up? Because we have seen in recent seasons, the 3 that have come up have gone straight back down. Let's get your quick take on that then, Cass. From what you've seen of the 3 that have come up, do you think finally we'll see it buck the trend?
Yeah, I said earlier in the show, Nat, that I really believe that there is a different idea of attacking the Premier League now, and that is doing a lot of business. Sunderland clearly knew their team wasn't good enough to after the playoffs of going into the Premier League. They've done a lot of business and being loyal to the players that were previously there, yeah, to a degree, but you need an upgrade in standard of player, and Leeds have done the same thing. So, and Burnley have tried to add. Yes, they've lost a couple as well, which has hurt them. But I think I don't see all 3 going down at all. I think, if anything, it'll be probably maybe one of them. After what I've witnessed so far, but we've got to see a number of games, haven't we, to really get a good idea of what the stand these teams
and
are.
This transfer window needs to shut before we know anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, in all fairness, too. So just to focus once more then on the Leeds angle, the head coach Daniel Farke says he wants his side to take the game to their illustrious opponents tonight.
Again, we won't sell our DNA in this Premier League season. It's not like we just will try to park the bus and, just like I mentioned, put the ball in the stand. So I think if you just concentrate on trying to defend 90 or whatever, 95, 96 minutes, you have no chance to survive there. You have to make sure that you have as many periods as possible when you also control the ball, when you can recover also with possession, and also let them shift and let them waste some energy against the ball. So we'll try to are there with as many periods as possible where we also control the game and control the ball, and I think it's also important to try to create chances, to scare them, and to be dangerous ourselves, and to play positive football and try to create chances and try to score goals.
Okay, so that's what Daniel Farke had to say. Let's speak to a man who knows Leeds United very well. It's their former manager, Kevin Blackwell. Kevin, good morning. How you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
Good morning to everybody.
Yes, fine, thank you.
Great to have you with us. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to speak to us. Really interesting to hear what Daniel Farke had to say there about really taking the game to Arsenal today. Is that something you agree with, or is that slightly foolish?
I think Daniel's a clever coach. I think he's want to be positive talking up, but his game strategy, I'm sure, want to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal at the Emirates, that's for sure. I listening to Tony there about what clubs that could stay up. I think Leeds could stay up. I think this year they've made a real concerted effort. If you look at the first 7 signings, the average height is 6'2". In Stoke, they've got a 6'4" midfield player, and they made it quite clear that recruitment, they want to be strong in both boxes. So I think that it will be a team that will go there, be resolute, strong, and try and pick off what they can. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing, Kevin, isn't there, going there and parking the bus, which clearly too many teams. I think Daniel Farke probably would have said that he's done that with, say, Norwich and Leeds before, that trying to get a result at a big club where you know that there's always one player at a big club that can just make a difference in one moment and ends up sticking it in the top corner, and you thought all of your defending, you've been beaten that way.
No, that's right. I mean, you have a great plan, you put it together, and as you say, all of a sudden the top-class player steps up, put it top corner from 45 yards. You're thinking, we didn't plan for that. So we've got to make sure, or the lads have got to make sure that they're focused at all times. But you're right. I think they've got to try and, look, you can take pressure off by attacking. It's no good sometimes sitting in because you invite pressure on all the time. One split second and it's all undone, as you say. So, but it's a happy medium between saying, look, we're going to Arsenal and we're going to have a right good go at you. You could find yourself 2 or 3 down in first 30 minutes, and then it's damn a limitation. So it really is having to step up into the Premier League. You really have to make sure that your game plan suits the opponent you're playing against. And against Arsenal, we know that they move the ball quite quickly. They've got good players, and that they can cause you a problem at any part of the pitch.
And Kevin, as you alluded to, the size of the Leeds team, which was clearly, I mean, I watched them at Luton last year, Leeds, and their forward line was Daniel James, Solomon and Nonta. And I thought, thinking, oh, they need some might in this forward line, but they've done it in other parts of the pitch. But one thing you're going to say is, if you've got such a big team, that is going to give them a really decent chance of handling the set pieces that Arsenal are clearly one of the best teams in the country at.
Absolutely right. I think, remember when I went up with Cardiff City, first 4 or 5 games, we got done at set plays. And yet we had Big Sol Bamba, bless him, Morrison at 6'3", 6'4". So you're right. So they have looked as though they maybe have learnt from going up before that they need more power, more strength in those, killer areas, both attack and defence. And it looks as though that's been, and it is definitely a policy that Leeds. I've read good reports on them that they feel that they need more power and strength to compete with the likes of Liverpool, with Virgil van Dijk hitting you. I mean, set plays, as we know, are a crucial part of the game. So I think they need to be a lot bigger. And as you quite rightly say, I look at the forward line, and I don't think physicality is going to be one of their things. It's got to be movement, pace and movement.
You've mentioned there that you think Leeds certainly do have the potential to stay up. Just in general, in terms of the title race, and I know it's early days, but Arsenal have done really well in this summer window. It looks like Eze is heading their way too. Do you put them right up there as title contenders, or as some might suggest, it's maybe just Liverpool's to lose?
I don't think anybody starts the season off thinking that they're going to get relegated, or 2, they're going to win the league. You look at what you've got. I look at Arsenal. The one ingredient I don't know whether Arsenal have got is actually electric pace up the top. I'm not sure the Goikas, even Eze, have got that electric pace that can, when things are really, really tight and you're away at Liverpool and you might have to sit in and be organised and then hit you really. I'm not sure they've got that. But they obviously got good players, and I think they'll be there. There's no doubt Liverpool, Arsenal, the main Man City, the main protagonists, they're going to be the ones that are going for the Championship the Premier League this year.
What about yourself, Kevin? What are you doing? What are you up to?
I'm the technical director in Lechia Gdańsk, so this just going to go into training in the next 10 minutes. We've got a massive derby game tomorrow, 45,000 full-out stadium.
Wow.
So, in Ekstraklasa in the Premier League in Poland. I'm enjoying it. I brought John Carver over here, so JC's with me, head coach. So, it's a really an eye-opener, Tony. They'll get abroad and coach abroad. I've really enjoyed it.
Good. I was in Poland recently. I couldn't believe the change in just the country. It's so clean and everything was working. It was unbelievable in Poland.
It is absolutely, Tony, you're bang on. I came here when they asked me to come, and I've got this vision of communists and dark day. I came here, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I said to them, look, when did this happen? They said the last 10 or 15 years it's changed. I'm in Lechia Gdańsk up here. It is stunning up here. I'm on the Baltic. Been even swimming in the Baltic, believe it or not, Tony. But now, absolutely, I can't believe the country that it is. And everybody that's come here have said exactly what you said, Tony. Can't believe what I'm seeing. So, look, it's a good place to work, and I'm enjoying it.
Good. Good to hear, Kevin.
Well, thank you for taking the time out then, Kevin, to join us.
Pleasure.
Best of luck for the season.
Cheers.
As well. We've had a reaction from Jim.
Oh, he might tell us what he
before I read out Jim's. No, it's a fabulous response. It's absolutely fine. But Griff from Kings Lynn wanted to point out that perhaps Jim's partner's Welsh, hence the dragon as the nickname.
All right.
But Jim has said she calls me a lot worse if I'm honest, but I love her to bits, and we've been together for 16 years this year.
Ah.
So there we go. So does she know that you call her the dragon, Jim? Let us know. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day. Find out more at nordvpn.com/talksport.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast with a man who has the freedom of the French city of Nancy. That's Tony Cascarino, who's with me, Natalie Sawyer. Let's see what's been making the front page of the talkSPORT app this week. And we're going to find out what Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy have been discussing on the sports bar. It involves fish.
Fish aren't pets.
What?
Can't have it. Yeah, even a goldfish, it's not a pet. A gerbil is a pet. A fish is not a pet.
Fish is more of a pet than a gerbil.
No, it's not.
No, it is.
You can't take a fish for a walk. You can't play with a fish. You can't play with a fish.
You can.
You can't, mate.
Can you take a gerbil for a walk?
No, but you can stroke it. You can stroke it.
You can stroke a fish.
Mate, if you can't take it for a walk or stroke it,
you can stroke a fish.
You can stroke it. Does it come over to be stroked?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, do me a favour.
Honestly. Do you want to clear it up for us? Is a fish a pet?
That's a weird one, but not really. But then there's people now who even have snakes. And can you stroke a snake? I'm not sure I'd want to stroke a snake. People are having some really
you
weird...
can obviously stroke a snake.
Well, a certain type of snake, but...
yes.
Yeah, I'd... is it a
I mean,
pet?
it is, of course it's a pet.
Well, it's a... Yeah, but...
Do you go to the pet shop to get them?
Yes, okay.
So I would
I'll
call
give you
them
that
a
one
pet.
then.
I would call them a pet.
Yeah, it's just a funny conversation. I don't know how Jason and Jamie
Do
get
you
in.
name a fish? Yes, you name your fish. I used to have pet fish when I was young, and I would name them all.
Can you remember the names of any of them?
The only one that I remember was Winston. There was a Winston, but I don't remember them. In all fairness, I don't remember the rest.
Do you eat your pet then? Because
no, I don't.
Exactly.
You know what you do? What you don't
eat fish,
but you don't eat your dog. And what you just...
I know you don't, but you say your dog's your pet.
I don't eat a goldfish.
No, but you eat fish.
Yeah, but...
Now it's only certain type of fish you don't eat. You like goldfish, but you'd eat
dog. Some people eat dog, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
I would still say it's a pet at the end of the day. But obviously, we do the kind thing of when a fish passes away.
You don't stroke a fish.
But when a fish passes away, you pop them down the toilet.
Yeah. Oh.
It's a nice way for them to go in water. Anyway, we'll move on. You can find more of that kind of thing if you want over on our app at talkSPORT. Just download it now from your favourite provider, and you can join with some of those conversations. We're going to end the show by discussing Nottingham Forest. In his press conference yesterday, the Forest boss Nuno Espirito Santo hinted that his relationship with owner Evangelos Marinakis is not as close now as it was last season. However, the apparently unexpected nature of those comments appear to have prompted a meeting between the Forest directors to discuss the situation. As it stands, talkSPORT understands that Nuno is expected to be in charge for the Crystal Palace game tomorrow. Let's remind you of what Nuno had to say on his relationship with the Forest owner.
Look, I always had a very good relationship with the owner. Last season was very, very, very close, almost daily basis. This season, not so well, but I always believe that dialogue and what you say or your opinion is always valid, because my concern is the squad and the season that we have ahead of us. But our relations has changed.
It's changed?
Yeah, it's not so close. It's not on a daily basis. So, yeah.
Is that a good thing, though? Or?
No, it's not good. It's not good. I think everybody at the club should be together, but it's not a reality.
I mean, there's being honest, and then there's being honest.
I found that quite funny. Just because on football, we always look at that. If things at the top of the club are not working right and all upstairs is not right, on the field we suffer. They've been brilliant on the field. How many times has it worked so well? You'd hear, I can't remember anybody talking so negatively when things on the field have been brilliant. They had an amazing season last year. Yeah. They're in Europe. You know, they've got a really good side this year. They've got some great players that have come in. And yet, you know, I don't get... Look, Nuno, there's obviously the middleman of Edu that's involved in this as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe his relationship with him has been a bit more difficult. I don't know. I'm assuming. But what I don't understand is why you'd be so open against someone I mean, look, I had some volatile chairmen. I had Ken Bates at Chelsea, Ken had his own way of doing things, but he could be very volatile. I had Doug Ellis at Aston Villa, likewise. And then I had the extraordinary character, which I would assume to be very much like Marinakis, is Bernard Tapie. that everything at the club he was in charge of, and every decision, including picking the team. I'm not saying that Mariakis is picking the team, but he was quite volatile, and that's why I see from Mariakis sometimes that he will do things that, look, fans love him. The team has done extraordinarily well. Morgan Gibbs-White was willing to sign a new contract under him. So there's a lot of great things that are going on at Forest.
Well, there are, which is why I'm sure
so
Forest
strange,
fans
so
now,
odd.
Forest fans will now be thinking, what is going on? Because, like you say, on paper it all looks great. They have Europa League football to look forward to. So on paper it all looks brilliant. And yet it feels as though you're worrying about now the future of Nuno Espirito Santo, because I imagine if you're an owner and you're hearing a manager speaking the way that he's speaking, you're thinking, hang on, what's going on here?
Maybe Edu's role might have been to communicate more with the coach and then less with Mariakis, who has got other interests in football. It's not like Nottingham Forest is his only club. If he's an extremely busy man, he wouldn't be all on hands-on with the manager all the time. He wanted a middleman.
What I would say then is the way that football has gone, and we now talk about head coaches as opposed to managers. Mikel Arteta is one of the rarities who's a manager now, because he changed his title to manager because he wanted to have more of a say in transfers. The problem you're finding now is that
Nuno's having less.
He's a head coach, and maybe with Edu now in charge of the global football operations of the group that Mariakis owns in terms of clubs, is that he is having a less of a say, and maybe that is in part because Mariakis, Edu, they've gone, well, we're in charge of this. You just deliver what we give you.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that idea, because I always, that idea, if that is the case, I always think it's a bad thing, because I think ultimately the manager has to have a say in transfers of whether he wants to, bring players in that he's not quite so keen on. Look, they've done brilliant in recruitment. They've had a hell of a lot of, recruitment go on the last, 2 to 3 years. But the manager, and he's earned the right to have some sort of say of the type of player that he thinks is necessary. Now, if recruitment can give him a number of names, great, and you can work with it. But if it's just he doesn't have a say, you just coach them, you put them together, organise them and play them.
I tell you what.
Then you've got a problem if Nuno doesn't want to do that, if he wants to have a bit of a say.
Yeah. Look, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. Yeah. This game at Selhurst Park doesn't need any more drama, but it's delivering already before it's even kicked off. talkSPORT understands that Mariakis is an admirer, by the way, of Ange Postecoglou, and the pair have been in conversations, supposedly, too. That ramps it all up, too. It's a huge game coming your way tomorrow. As I say, we'll talk more about it as well tomorrow. But that is it from us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow to react to all of today's Premier League action, plus all of the rest of the day's sport, and we'll look ahead to a huge day tomorrow, including that Palace Forest game, as well as Fulham Manchester United. Cass, thank you very much. I believe you're heading to the GTEC.
Yes, GT Villa are at the GTEC, and interesting game today.
Interesting game it shall be. We'll get your thoughts on that one. I'll be there too. We might be sat next to each other. Who knows? For now, that's it from us. On the way next, it's the warm-up with Max and Charlie.